Welcome back, friends, to another episode of the Zephcast, the show where we get to know your favorite content creators, streamers, and podcasters alike. I am your host, ZephyrsXP, and with me today, we got Twitch streamer, Aerith Stan, and my good friend Caerien here on the show. Thank you so much for being here today. How's your morning going so far?
Zeph, thanks for asking me to jump in your show. My morning's good. I had a very stomach full breakfast of nasi lemak. I don't know if you know it.
I don't know if I've heard of it before.
And I have also had green tea with condensed milk, Zeph.
I haven't tried it yet. It just makes it like creamier, I'm guessing, or like sweeter?
Yep, exactly. It does.
I guess
You should try it.
I kind of want to. Maybe I'll do it on stream someday. I did try like tea with milk like about a year ago, and it was pretty good. I guess I've just grown up my whole life just having like tea straight. I don't know why. I guess it's kind of one of those things I'm just not used to, but I'd be down to try it. I'm down to try anything, honestly.
Yeah, I remember you did it. You mentioned it like last year, and your reaction was a bit, yeah, I understand. That's why you should try with condensed milk instead.
I'd be down to give it a shot, especially if it makes it like a little sweeter but not too sweet. I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to like, it's like coffee, because coffee is essentially just beans that's brewed through like pressurized water. So tea's kind of similar, and you add milk to it. I get it. Is it a thing, actually? I just thought of this. Is it a thing to like do tea with milk and then to ice it?
Not here, not really. We love condensed milk more.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it is a thing somewhere in the world.
The other thing a lot of people say I gotta try is, I think, boba tea. I haven't had boba tea. I think I might have had it one time, but I don't remember like anything about it really. It's the one with like the things in it, right? The chunks?
Yeah, the bubbles. The
bubbles,
that's why they call it boba. It's like bubbles.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But the water, like the drink itself, other than the bubbles, is actually also tea with, sometimes depends, with condensed milk.
I'm gonna try.
So if you had like bubble tea, then you basically had tea with condensed milk.
Gotcha.
But that's like the normal ones, because at least here in Asia we have a more variety of those. It's not just tea with condensed milk. Sometimes we call it gula melaka. It's called palm sugar.
Interesting.
Which it is sweet, but the taste is slightly different. I would prefer palm sugar, but it's not that. It is easier to get here, but it's some sort of like, it's a special thing, you know. You can't always have
right. Oh, is it
palm
like
sugar every day.
really sweet, or like really like not maybe that good for you? Or is it just like rare to find?
One is that, and then also it's just harder to get.
Palm sugar, I've never heard of that either. Like pomegranates?
No. PALM, palm.
Oh, PL. Okay, I've never heard of that before. I'm curious. I'm gonna like re-listen to this podcast at this part, and I'm gonna like look up all of this, because like I love food. I'm a sucker for food, and I love trying new foods. Like every time my wife and I go out shopping, I'm the one who's always like, never tried that before, but that looks good. Let's get that. We've never had that before. Let's get that. And she's usually not as adventurous, so I'm the one that kind of has to push her a little bit to try new things.
I think that makes at least like the day-to-day life a little bit more exciting, right? You try new things.
Exactly. That's what life is all about, is trying new things and like going outside your comfort zone. I feel like it's how you grow.
Sure. Exactly.
But usually to start the podcast, I always love to start with a fun icebreaker question. Do you think you're ready for the icebreaker, Caerien?
Gosh, do I need to have like Excel spreadsheet or something?
No. It's always like randomized as to which one it picks out. And then I think this one would be is a funny one. If you could be on a reality TV show, which one would you choose and why, out of curiosity?
Can I just say I don't watch reality TV?
Oh, yes. That is the best answer in my... I don't watch any reality TV show as well. So like I was expecting, I don't know, because there's like so many different kinds of reality TV shows, and I'm not aware of like any of them, but that's like the best answer I would say. No hate to anybody that does like reality TV show, just
Exactly.
yeah, not my cup of tea. Why don't you watch reality TV show out of curiosity?
Because sometimes, well, previously I used to watch. Are they considered reality TV? Like the boss, something like a boss, where they bring like a CEO to go into like normal workers' environments, and then they pretend that they're someone else, and then at the end of it they're like, yay, I'm the CEO, or whatever that is.
I don't know if I've
that it might not be reality TV, but that is the closest that I've watched.
Gotcha.
And I don't know, sometimes it just feels fake.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And I don't know, in my head I have enough drama as it is, my own drama that I make in my head. So like, who cares about other people's drama? Like, I'm living my own drama.
I like it. Yeah, sometimes like watching, I've seen a little bit of reality TV show, and it's just, I completely agree. It's exhausting to watch it, and the drama, I totally get that part. You're just like, why am I stressed out and frustrated for these people's drama? And it's all mostly probably scripted and lived out in a certain fashion to enable certain reactions from people. Like, why am I worried about their drama when I should be caring about my own drama? So I completely relate 100% to that. I thought it'd be
Undercover
fun.
Boss, I remember it now. Undercover Boss.
Undercover Boss. I feel like I've heard of the show before. I don't think I've ever watched it before, but that sounds like that would be really interesting. Almost like a secret shop of the CEO in a way.
It's interesting for a few times that you watch it, and then after a while you can kind of see the formula, then you're just like, yeah, sure.
Gotcha. Like, I've seen a couple episodes, I've seen them all, kind of thing, right?
Exactly. They try and like twist it a little here and there, but meh.
Just kind of same old.
Yeah, exactly.
So first real question of the podcast for you, Caerien. What originally got you interested in wanting to start streaming on Twitch out of curiosity?
Honestly, I remember this like it was yesterday, all right? But I don't know how the interaction like started. I really just, long story short, it's you.
Really?
Long story short, yeah. But initially, I've been watching some streams before we met as well. But it's always just like, oh yeah, I just want to watch this guy play this game that I love, and then just see their reaction to it, and we just talk about it. But then when I remember vividly, I think you followed me on Twitter, and I was like, oh, who is this random dude? And I saw your profile. It's like you said like you were a streamer or something like that. So I clicked on your Twitch, and I thought, yeah, let's just give this guy a follow. Why not, right?
Why not?
And I came into your stream, and you know how your energy is so wholesome, it's so uplifting, and like every time if someone mentions a little bit of interest into streaming, you're just like, go do it. Like, come on, why aren't you doing it right now?
Just kind of jump
and
in.
I was just one of your victims. No, I'm kidding.
Right.
I just yeah, it was because of that. And I also, like, initially I had this game that I was playing, Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7.
Oh yeah.
Aerith.
Right.
And and I have a friend who did not, like, just doesn't know how to play the game.
Oh.
And I told him like, hey, like, I can play the game and you can just come watch me. I didn't even think of doing it on Discord at that time. I thought, okay, how do I help my friend watch me play this game? I guess Twitch.
Yes, Twitch. And the rest is history.
And then exactly. So I've been like playing that, and I finished it for him, and then I like took a break because I thought like there's no other point. And then when we met, and then you were like, hey, just try it, and all that, and all the encouragement just made me think like, yeah, why not? Why not? But it was like a slow, harsh journey to get to it, because, you know, I'm very nervous. I get nervous very, very easily, and it might be obvious when I'm nervous is when I'm what's the word? What's the word? Stuttering.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'm the same exact way.
And do you started? No lies. But in my head, it's like obvious when I start to stutter, and then like because in my head it's obvious. Other people might not notice it. Maybe people notice it, but they don't care. But in my head, it starts getting obvious, and then I'm like, no, I can't show people that I'm nervous. I can't do this. I can't do that. You know, all the negativity goes down, and that's why it was like really hard to get me into it. But I love it so far. It's been more than a year now.
It has, yeah. I think I saw. Did you start streaming like around like April time of 2020, like April, May?
Yeah, that was when like just did the one stream per month. To
Gotta
play
start
the game.
somewhere. Gotta start somewhere, right?
Exactly. But yeah, I love it so far. And then you meet like so many new people.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like the person. Same with you. Like same when I came to your stream, you're like, okay, let's just see how this person is. And then you come and it's like, I can't believe this person has not been in my life before this. I can't imagine life without this person anymore. I want to come to the streams forever.
Oh my goodness. I feel the exact same way, honestly, about like not only you, but like so many other people I've met on Twitch who I feel really close with. Like it almost feels like there's a core group of people who you like truly deeply hold, and like they're the really close friends. And then of course, like there's other viewers who kind of like shuffle in, shuffle out from time to time and kind of come in and go, but there's always like there really is kind of a core of people who just always so excited to talk about what's new in their life, what games are they playing, like how's everything going, and just like those people you'd want to go out to dinner with and or have drinks with or have good conversations with. And yeah, meeting you and so many others has been just such a change in my life for the better, and it's helped me in so many different aspects of my life, with communicating and public speaking and feeling confident and just learning new tech skills I never would have thought I would have learned before, and being able to, I think my favorite thing is just meeting people from all across the world with different languages and different cultures and different ideas and different beliefs, and just hearing how everyone is so different, but also hearing how similar everyone is at the same time. Because it's almost like you find these people from, like us, from halfway across the world who maybe we both like Final Fantasy VIII and we both see each other playing Final Fantasy VIII or are curious about someone playing a game we love. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, let's talk about it, let's learn about the game, and then all of a sudden we're talking about like food, and then we're having conversations about like life, and then about things far outside of gaming. And I really resonate a lot with what you're saying. There's always those people who just make the experience greater than just playing video games.
Exactly. Like especially as you mentioned earlier, it's like culture, right? You perhaps were not familiar with people, let's say, of my culture before this, and then now it's like, oh yeah, I have a really close friend, Caerien, who's from Malaysia, and this is what she sometimes talk about: nasi lemak, teh tarik, all of the good stuff that I want to try, and that I've never actually like. Maybe not for you, but maybe like some people, like they go by the street every single day, but then you don't actually see that, oh, that restaurant's actually a Malaysian restaurant. But after like per se knowing me, they're like, oh god damn it, I didn't know there was a Malaysian restaurant in the street that I walk by every single day. I should try this restaurant. And what if the food that you try there will be like your new favorite food? Right, there's something that you just don't like. This, it might not be direct, like through me you can find like something that you love after like a food that you love, a new food that you love, but it somehow turned out that way, right? I think that is like the best experience to at least try, and that's what you get. At least it's easier to get with streaming rather than like previously I used to play MMOs.
Okay.
And I would also, meet new people who are like Australian, who are American, from any other country, and who also get that experience. But that is more limited, I feel, because you are like trying to focus on actually doing dailies, doing raids, all whatever that you do in MMOs.
Right.
Whereas this one is like you can just derail the thing if you don't feel like playing. Okay, let's just go to just chatting screen.
Right. The best
can
game
just
on
talk.
Twitch.
Exactly.
I relate to that a lot, and I feel very similar, at least in like a gaming aspect with like the Soulsborne games. Like I'd never had any interest in playing Bloodborne or Dark Souls or any of those games because like I didn't quite
Really?
feel very intrigued by them. And then a lot of people were just like, oh, you gotta try them, kept pushing me to try them. And then I played Bloodborne, and it's probably like one of my top 3 or top 5 favorite games of all time. And then it just kind of descended into the chaos of the Soulsborne series, and there's definitely a part of me that kind of wants to, you know, come back to Final Fantasy and try like other games as well. But like, yeah, you're so right. Just putting your foot out there, trying new things that you're maybe unsure about, and maybe they'll fall flat, maybe you don't love them, maybe they're just meh, but maybe they're amazing, and maybe it's something that you want to continue to have in your life every day, whether that's food or games or people and relationships, or just trying new things, new hobbies in life, and kind of seeing what sticks, I think.
Can I ask something? Just derailing just a little bit, but we were talking about Bloodborne,
Yeah.
but more so Dark Souls. I heard from someone with a yellow colored text that you you were like pushing him to beat Dark Souls or something.
Zach, out of curiosity?
Yes.
Yeah, so both of us are playing Dark Souls 3 right now, and we're kind of at like similar points in the game, and so there's almost like a race between both of us to see who's going to beat it first. What's funny is that actually happened with me and my friends Lowdown Justin and Argue Barmies playing Dark Souls 2. All 3 of us were like at the exact same points, and every time I'd like end my stream, I'd go check where they're at, and we literally like progressed through the game at like the exact same rate. So it's pretty fun playing the games and then going back and seeing your friends play them and see what bosses they struggle with, or like how they handle certain situations. And that's kind of just in Twitch in general. Like if there's a game that you love to play, like Final Fantasy 7 or Final Fantasy 9 or whatever the game is, you almost kind of want to see how other people experience that too. You want to see those first reactions, you want to see those moments and just see what people think, and maybe they'll get something different out of a scene or a situation or a character than you will, and it almost makes you think deeper about something that you really love.
Exactly. There's some things that you like in your head. You kind of, oh, this happened. I might like it might not like bullseye to you yet, but then when you see someone else experience the same thing and then it bullseye to them, then like, oh my god, I did not see that, I did not notice that. Right. And yeah, I really do like that, because you see from firsthand from other people's like perspective of the same thing that you experienced.
Right. Yeah, it's really
amazing.
It really is. One thing though we absolutely got to talk about when it comes to Final Fantasy is I do got to know the story behind Aerith. Why is Aerith the best? Where did the love of Aerith stem from? What's the whole story behind Aerith, out of curiosity?
It's Zeph, it's Aerith. Why do we need to question? No,
she's pretty cool. I'll give her that.
I'm actually also, I've been thinking about this. Like even when we talked with Porto, I was thinking about it a lot because he asked something similar, and so I'm recollecting back my memories. I played Final Fantasy 9 first, and then I went to 7, and then 8. So when I played 7, I played it the first time. I didn't really understand death at that time because I was still young. I was like 7 or 8. So I didn't really understand like what's going on with Aerith. Like she's gone, but she helps us in the end. Kind of don't get that. Second playthrough, third playthrough, still didn't understand it that well. And then something happened IRL in my life that made me at least understood death. And then I played back the game and I'm like, so she's gone, but she's also helping us at the end as well. So is she like something greater than just an average person? Of course, she's Cetra. Like,
Right.
it's in the game, right? But what is Cetra? And then it made me like think of it a lot more. And she's always in my mind. And come on, she's pretty, man.
She is. She is.
And then so during the fourth playthrough, I like really went down to like see each and every nuance of her. Like, she's not just a dried up
Like white mage.
flat sort of character. Right. She has so many sides of her, right?
Yeah.
And then and I don't know, it just somehow resonated with me. But like growing up, it was just like, yeah, I love her as a character, and then that's it. And then I like watch anime, I play other games, do other stuff, and then I think like coming back to Crisis Core, when I started playing Crisis Core, it sort of like hit me. Aerith is the best character ever of all time. You can't change my mind ever. It just sort of like hit me. And then also like, because I played Kingdom Hearts as well.
Okay.
When I was younger on the PS2. And she was there, but at that time I thought, why is she not like cheerful? Why is she not as she was in Final Fantasy VII? But now as I played like Crisis Core, and then I also played Kingdom Hearts a few months back as well, then you sort of like can see why, because of things that happen in Kingdom Hearts. That's why she's a little bit muddled like that. And maybe they just didn't want to concentrate on her, but come on, it's Aerith.
Right. I was
But yeah,
I think I was talking to August about this a couple weeks ago. Almost like when you're a kid and you experience something like a movie or a book or a video game where there's you almost fall in love with it for different reasons than when you are as an adult. So as you play through it or watch a movie multiple times as you get older and older and older, your life experience almost changes how you perceive that piece of art, and the art stays the same. It's always been like it's exact same how it is, but just as you get older, you start noticing elements of like different philosophies, or maybe there's like some religion kind of sprinkled in there, or maybe there's different aspects of like life and death and how friendships can like stand the test of time. And there's like so many deeper meanings besides just here's this really cool character that does cool limit breaks that kicks people's booties. There's like so much more to it than that.
exactly, things that you wouldn't like notice when you were younger, right?
Exactly.
But then when you're older and then you have experienced certain things, and then it gets so obvious, and it's sort of like mind-blowing in a way, even though you've already played it before.
Right.
So yeah, with Aerith, I don't know, it sort of like resonated with me from there. And then also like the things that she does, like she brings flowers into Sector 5, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, she's where places where you can't really grow flowers, but she's managed to grow them. And I found the beauty in bringing life to something that most people cannot.
Yeah.
And then just as well, like her personality just resonated with me. And I never actually imagined that I would fall for her this hard as hard as I did. But playing a remake as well, it just elevated it even more.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. They made her like, they brought out so much of the characters in Final Fantasy VII Remake. That's probably my favorite aspect of the entire game, is just like how much more dialogue you get with these characters, how the voice actors absolutely did such a good job, especially Aerith in particular. They really added that like extra sassiness that you kind of got from the text, but like really elevated it, but also had a lot of this charm and a lot of this like caringness almost, and I think they absolutely did a great job. It's crazy just how much a voice of how the tone of a voice, how someone says the words that you read on screen can completely elevate and change like exactly what they're meaning behind the words. So yeah, I think they did a great job in Remake. How did you feel about how they brought her to life, out of curiosity?
I remember when I think the official artwork came out. I think before the game they showed the official artwork of Aerith, right? And then someone was asking me, "Hey Caerien, how do you feel about Aerith's like character design, her outfit?" I'm like, is there something wrong with it? Is there like a smear on it or something? Because it's perfect.
Right. It did a good job.
Like exactly. And I think either way, Japanese voice actor, English voice actor, they really brought out, like, I feel like they understood who she is and what she wants, and that's how they managed to like bring her to what she is today, as you see in the game. Because even Maya Sakamoto, the Japanese voice actor, she has been the voice actor for Aerith since like forever.
Yeah, like Crisis Core like, and Advent Children and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So she, of course, she knows Aerith. Of course,
she is Aerith,
and she's very prolific as well in her work. She also does lightning. Do you know that?
I did not know that actually.
Lightning.
Final Fantasy 13 fan as well, Caerien.
Of course, I bought a PS3 just for Final Fantasy 13.
Okay. Have you played all three of them? 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns?
Only Lightning Returns. I have not played it. It's due to some personal reasons that I couldn't do it like on day one.
Okay.
And because of that, it felt like it was so sad that I couldn't get it on day one. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just not gonna get it. But I definitely want to get it. I'm having some plans to like get my PS3 running, or just get a new PS3 just to play Lightning Returns.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. They kind of have almost like, I don't know, like the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy has almost gotten lost. I feel like there hasn't been any remasters of it or anything with PS4, PS5. There is stuff on Steam and you can kind of get mods to enhance it, but it's weird how they're re-releasing like 12 and 10 and just all these different games, and of course 7 and remastering 8 and stuff, but just 13 kind of feels like it's getting lost a little bit.
I honestly thought they would say something in TGS.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Game Studio a few weeks back. I honestly thought they might have like hinted something about it, but so I was a bit upset that they didn't. But of course they did like release the games that they were going to talk about, and 13 wasn't in there. But I was like, baby, just give me a
right. What are thoughts on Tifa, out of curiosity? Is Tifa, do you kind of hold some similar feelings from Aerith to Tifa, or is it just completely separate, or why not both?
Okay, so long story short, after Remake, I like Tifa. Before Remake, I didn't. But when I was playing the first game, I mean 7,
the OG,
the OG, yeah. I honestly thought Tifa was sort of an afterthought.
Oh,
and they just put in Tifa just so that she can take care of Cloud when the things happen to him. You know, the Mako toxification, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Mako poisoning when you fell in the live stream.
Yeah, so in my head, when I was younger, when I was 7, was just that, it felt like she didn't have a purpose until Cloud got poisoning, and then that's her purpose, and she's fulfilling her purpose, and then she's an afterthought again.
Interesting way of seeing it.
And also, maybe in the first part of the game, she felt a bit naggy.
Interesting.
And I had enough of that with my parents, so I don't want that in a video game. So that is the main reason why I didn't like Tifa. It's totally separate from Aerith. It's not an Aerith versus Tifa for Cloud sort of situation. Different. Although previously I did like Cloud with Aerith instead. But it's not because of Tifa. I hated Tifa or anything. But yeah, I really felt like she wasn't, like, she was an afterthought. She may have not been the initial, like, supposedly party member. She could have been something similar to like Vincent or Yuffie, that, you know, optional. But they just put her in the main party instead of being optional. But then playing Remake, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I love her. But of course, I went in Remake with an open mind. I went in thinking, okay, let's give Tifa a second chance. Let's see what she has to bring on board, and if she's an amazing character. And I'm glad I opened up. Like, I had an open mind. I had an open heart. She's amazing. And I honestly, like, you remember how they mentioned just very slightly that he wanted to go shopping?
Yes.
And that Cloud would carry their bags for
Yes, the bags.
I want to see that, man. I want to see that.
I always felt like Tifa was just more of like, she was very reserved and kept to herself. She was almost like a, not scared, but just like reserved. But it's so funny. She was almost like polar opposites of personality, shy and reserved on one side, but would absolutely smash and kick butt on the other side. And I always felt like she was like looking after Cloud. That was kind of as like a childhood friend. Maybe it turned into like a love interest as the game kind of progressed on, but I always kind of just felt like she was more watching over her friend, because she noticed Cloud was really weird. And that's another aspect I love about Final Fantasy VII, is that there's this huge backstory before the game even starts, and then right when the game starts, like, all the pieces are already laid in motion and it's just playing out as it does. And when I was kind of the same way when it came to Cloud, like, playing the original game, and I've played it many, many, many times, I never quite perceived Cloud as this kind of, I don't know, this like asshole character really, but they did such a good job of bringing that out in Remake. I always perceived him as more of just kind of a loner, just kind of like, leave me alone, I'm keeping to myself, kind of like a lone wolf mentality. But when playing through Remake, they really gave him that edginess, that jerk attitude, that like, he's not only trying to be alone, but he's like trying to actively push people away and just be a jerk about everything. And I always felt like he wasn't originally like that as he was a teenager growing up. And that's where Tifa's kind of noticing like weird aspects of him. Like, why is he so aggressive? Why is he so mean? Why does he keep falling over and like having these weird panic attacks and stuff? Like, what's going on with my childhood friend here? And I always kind of felt she was just trying to keep an eye on him and make sure he's okay. So it's interesting that everybody can play these games and perceive characters differently and kind of feel different things for different characters. And again, as you get older and you go back and experience it again, maybe as an adult, you start to see certain elements that you didn't see before, because you've experienced, you know, that kind of friendship or loss, or you've experienced love, or whatever the emotions are. You can almost kind of notice subtle hints here and there that you would have missed as you were younger.
Exactly. Especially like a lot of if you were watching like movies and TV, and then there's some like subtle adult jokes, and just like went over your head when you were younger, but then now you hear like, wow, how did that get past the board? Right.
I feel that way with like Pixar movies, honestly. Like, Pixar movies are kind of those movies where you can watch them as a kid and love them, and then as you watch them again as an adult, there's so many of those little cues, and some humorous stuff, some like really dark stuff, some really traumatic stuff, and love stuff, and just things like those subtle hints that you don't pick up on. And it makes me excited as I get older and wanting to go back and play Final Fantasy VII. That's my favorite game of all time, to go back and play it when I'm 30 and 40 and 50 and see how I perceive it differently, because it'll always be the same game, like that original game, but as I get older, seeing how I perceive it differently.
I think it's also the same with other like consume medias, like reading books even.
Yeah.
Like, many people can read the same book, but then people would perceive it in a different way, and then that's how you get discussions like book clubs and all that.
Right.
People coming in to talk about the same book, and then there's so much discussion, and that's why I love playing video games and also reading books. It gives the same drive, especially if you read with other people as well.
Would you consider Final Fantasy VII to be like your definitive #1 game of all time, or is there a different game that kind of holds that spot for you?
It's really tough to say. Even now, I've been like, people have been asking, and it's so hard to tell. If you give me a top 3 though,
Okay.
it'd be easier.
Top 3.
So top 3, I like 7, 8, 9.
just
So
the PlayStation ones.
Like, honestly, the first video game I played was Pokemon, but Pokemon is just Pokemon to me. It wasn't really like special in my heart. But when we got a PS1, I didn't have any consoles before that. My family had SNES,
Okay.
but not me, in a sense that I was too young to experience it. And then once we get a PS1, that's when I was able to experience it because I was old enough to play. So when we played Crash Bandicoot. That was the first game that I played on the PS1, which is a platformer. And people who know me know I am very bad with platformers.
They're hard. They're so
But
precise.
it's enjoyable. Yeah, exactly. But it's an enjoyable experience. I do like Crash Bandicoot. But the first like real RPG game that I booted up was Final Fantasy 9, and honestly, it holds a special place in my heart, even if some people say like they hate Zidane, he's a jerk. But like, come on, you see what the character growth in that kid throughout the entire game? Like, you played it yourself, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's amazing. Vivi as well, he's an amazing character. Like, when I was playing it when I was younger, I didn't really understand what's wrong with this kid. Why is he so like moody? Why is he so gloomy? Thinking about it back, like, of course he's like this.
Right,
It
right.
makes sense.
Vivi's definitely one of those characters that, like, if you play Final Fantasy 9 when you're like 10 years old, there's going to be so many aspects that you miss. But when you play it as like a 25 or 30-year-old, you get all the loss, you get the death, you get the short-term lifespan, you get every little element that went over your head. I totally agree with Vivi 100%. Great character.
Exactly. And then there's also like Garnet. She's amazing. She shows you how strong women can be, especially when I was playing at the age that I was. And not only her, but also Beatrix.
Yes, she's a great
And then
character.
the way I love the way how they played out the army full of females, and then they were, not to say superior to Steiner, but they were in their own level, right? It also brings out like, women can do this as well, especially for someone of my age and back in the 90s, early 2000s. I think Beatrix was one of the characters that made me think, is it okay to have crushes on females? As me being female.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And also Quina, she made me think like, is it okay for a person not to be either a he or a she? Is it okay to have like some sort of like a blend? So I like these things that Final Fantasy 9 brings to the table.
Makes you think.
And given that it's big, right? And given that it's the first RPG game that I played, that elevates it to a whole new level. That makes me think like, I can't just play any other RPG. It can't just be a blend of characters just coming in together to fight evil, kill God or whatever. It has to have like these special characters, and they have to mean something.
Right.
So that, because it was the first game that I played, so it gets on this level. And then after playing 9, even my mom, who's the one like buying the games for us, she even knows what's Final Fantasy. Like, anything that she sees splattered all over the screen that says Final Fantasy, she's like, okay, I gotta get this for Caerien. I don't know what this is, but I gotta get this for Caerien.
Yes. Good parenting right there.
Exactly. So she got a 7 and 8. Because I think at that time, like the previous games weren't ported yet. So I played 7 next, And you know seven's an experience. 7 is wild. 7 is crazy. I love it. I love Aerith. So it's special as well. 8 8 on the other hand, like some people might not like 8, but 8 to me is like, you have Squall. You think he's like similar to Cloud. He's a loner. He doesn't want to get close to anyone. But as you progress through the game, you find out why. And at least for me, all I wanted to do is just hug the kid and say it's okay.
Yeah.
And say it's okay to have friends. It's okay to love people. It's okay to open up yourself. And I think 8 is like, I have an older brother, but at that time I perceived Squall as another older brother that I had. And I just wanted to hug him and love him. And 8 is an experience, man. I love 8 so much. And I love that we met through 8 as well.
Yes. 8. I mean, I'm a little bit more mixed on 8. There was definitely a lot of things that kind of fell a little flat for me, but there were also elements of it that were just absolutely incredible. Like 8 might have the best soundtrack in the entire series. The soundtrack is absolutely incredible. I mean, Triple Triad is incredibly addicting. I get why people love it. It's such a fun game. I think the thing with
so good.
I think the thing with 8 for me is I just felt like after kind of like halfway through the story, there were so many characters that you didn't really get much more story of or much more backstory aside from the whole like orphanage thing. Like I just always wanted to learn more and feel more about like Zell or Quistis, or learn more about like Irvine and all of them, or like more about Cypher and them. So I almost felt like the beginning was kind of like this group story, and at the halfway point it changed into like a Squall, Rinoa, Edea kind of story, which I don't know. And the romance between Squall and Rinoa definitely didn't quite hit me the way I would have anticipated, which is interesting because the next game, Garnet and Zidane, I think has the best love story in like all of the Final Fantasies. I love the Zidane Garnet love story. I think they did a great job of the whole Romeo Juliet. She's a princess, he's a thief. There's no way they can be together, but they fall in slowly over time. She starts to come around to his unique charm, and yeah. But I think I really did like the junction system of Final Fantasy VIII. I thought it was really unique. I wasn't crazy about the draw system. That's how it always feels with Final Fantasy VIII. It's like, I like this, but am I crazy in that, or do you kind of feel that similar way about 8 in some things?
I agree. I don't like Rinoa and Squall. It's so weird to me. It feels so forced to me. I just like, I would as you said, I would have preferred to it more to be like the gang and Squall, and even if Rinoa is in the gang itself, but not solely focused on Rinoa and Squall and eventually Dia. But have you like heard any of the fan theories about the game?
I think the biggest one I've heard is that when Edea throws the ice at Squall, that is the moment that kills him, and the rest of it is like an unconscious like coma dream or something like that. But I believe their director has come on record and said that is not what happened. It's kind of broken that fan theory.
It's okay.
You can still believe it. I mean, I like stuff like that though. I think it would be really cool if maybe that was the element that like Squall either maybe not even died, but like that sent him into a coma where he cannot wake up from, and the rest of the game is this dream fantasy in his brain. I think that would be interesting, and then that would kind of make sense more why we don't get more Quistis, we don't get more Zell, and it does narrow down the focus to Squall, Rinoa, and Edea, because then all of a sudden it does become specifically Squall and Rinoa's story. So is that the one you were thinking of?
Yeah. There's also another one that mentions that Edea, the sorceress, is
Rinoa
of the future. And I kind of like that. I really do like that, even though that is, again, the creators, they just like pushed it aside, but it's okay. It's my head, my thoughts.
Right. And I felt I was when I first finished Final Fantasy VIII, because I finished it like I think halfway through May. I was really mixed on a lot of things, but I loved a lot of other things, and it made me immediately go back and play it. So I played it like back to back, twice in 1 month, and the second time I just was trying to undercut or like find more elements that I was confused about, and I was thinking it would make me kind of fall in love with the game more, but finishing it the second time, I was kind of left with similar feelings. Like, I just want more in certain things, and I wish the draw system like was different, and I wasn't crazy about how you could like junction magic, but if you use the magic, then it can make you weaker, it can lower your health, it can lower your attack. I wasn't crazy about that, or how you could have triple triad and turn the cards into like the most powerful spells within the first hour of the game or whatever. And it was very, I feel like I'll definitely play it again one day, but it didn't have that same impact that 7 and 9 and even 6 had on me. Are you a fan of Final Fantasy 6 by any chance?
No, I've not played, and I don't think I will.
What? Oh no, not it. Is it the 16-bit like 2D-ness of it?
No. I played 5. I love 5. 5. When they released the remaster, bye.
Right away.
But yeah, exactly. Like so with 5, I never finished it. Back in the day, back in the PS1 era, all you can do is just with the CRT TV with the PS1 right there with one controller, you can just play it, and then that's all you do. So what happens when you get stuck?
I guess you can't really Google the walkthrough per se.
Exactly. For me, I gotta go to my mom's office, and I actually have to remember that I need to Google it, and then I have to be brave enough to ask her secretary to print it out for me. So what if I forget? What if I'm not brave enough? What if there's all that kind of stuff. So I never got to finish it because I was lost. There was this one like desert area. I was lost for days. I remember I was trying to get my brother to help me out, but because he never actually played it, so how would he know how to get out of that place and also get to where we're supposed to go? So yeah, definitely I'm gonna play 5. So it's not really about the pixels. It's more to Hefka.
Ooh.
I've seen how he looks like in Dissidia, and I'm not about that.
Is it the clown vibes? Not a clown fan? Yeah.
Yeah, there was. I've mentioned this a few times, and I'm not sure if you want to know the backstories of that, like why I don't like clowns.
If you want to share it, bad experience maybe.
Okay, I was standard 2 is 7 or 8, somewhere around there. I was 8, let's say. My school was beside this like abandoned, not really forest. It was just like one big plot of land that was just no one used it. There's a lot of trees. There's sometimes animals there because you can hear in the morning, all kinds of animal sounds. Sometimes there was a snake. Like there was at one time like snake came into the school. So it's creepy vibes, right? I usually go to school at like around before 7, 6:40, 6:30 something ish, and that was before the sunrise. And my class at that time, it was the building right beside the quote unquote forest. And you can actually, the door is like there's a mirror. No, not really a mirror. It's just like a glass, so you can see inside of it, right?
Okay.
And the door's locked, so that usually the teachers would come and they will unlock the door. Then you can go into the class, get ready for school, and all that. So it was locked. I don't know what compelled me. I wanted to look into the class. This one day, I was alone. Usually, I have my friend. Like she would come maybe like 5 to 10 minutes after me. She would arrive at school so we could play together. But she wasn't there. I was bored. I peeked into the classroom. I saw in the blackboard. See how old I am? It's a blackboard. It's a blackboard. A really big and white blackboard. There was a drawing of a clown. And I swear to God, I cried. I ran away. I ran to my brother. My brother was like, he's always sleepy.
Yeah.
So he wasn't having none of that at like before 7 a.m. He doesn't want me to like cry or whatever. So I just had to like cry alone. And I told everyone. I told all of my friends when they started coming in. I was like, "There's a clown in the classroom. There's a clown in the classroom. You can't. We can't go to the classroom." And I wasn't brave enough to tell my teacher, but like basically the entire class knew. So we're like lining up. And then the teacher's like bringing us to the class, and before like I was like looking at the door the entire time before we get into the classroom. So like no one came in, no cleaners, no whatever, no one came into the class. I was one of the first to actually go into the classroom because they arranged us by height, and I was one of the shortest.
Okay.
So I was like, there might have been one student before me and then the teacher. So the teacher unlocks the classroom. She opens the door. There was no clown, Zeph.
Interesting. Like,
There
did it
was
look
no
like it got
drawing of a
erased,
clown.
or it just wasn't there?
Sorry?
Like, did it look erased away, or was it just not there? That's interesting.
It's not there.
Interesting.
I freaked out, and then people started calling me a liar, which like whatever. I don't care about you. I'm caring about it's mentally crazy, right? And it affects you, especially at a young age. It affects you, and then until now, like even if I see clowns at malls,
Yeah.
I never approached them. Even younger, like before my mom knew, and I never told her the story actually until like a few years back. So how can you tell an adult that when your friends don't even trust you? So like she noticed I never actually approached clowns. I never, like whenever a clown tried to approach me, I would run away. But yeah, ever since then I hated clowns. I saw Kefka in the Cydia, and I'm not having none of that. Even if in the game it's just pixel, I don't care. You're not gonna tell me otherwise. I'm never gonna touch that game.
It is I would say Final Fantasy VI is probably my like top 5 favorite game of all time, or a top 5 favorite game of all time for me. It is really, really good. So, but yes, Kefka's definitely, it's not even like he's like a clown. He's more of just like a jester, like a court jester, which is kind of, it's like the medieval version of a clown in a way. And then he just kind of goes absolutely crazy and wants to become like God and ruler of the world essentially. But I'm sorry to hear that, because Final Fantasy VI is so good. It really, really is, especially the music, and I love pixel art. I'm such a sucker for really good 2D 16-bit art style. And actually, as weird as it might sound, I would love if it became more and more popular for games to get like a demake in a way. Like if they actually, instead of like a Final Fantasy VII remake, like what if we got a Final Fantasy VII Final Fantasy VI version looking style game of it? I think that'd be so cool to go through like Midgar and the Mako reactors as just like this 2D Super Nintendo 16-bit pixel style. I would absolutely love that with like classic Final Fantasy VI turn-based combat. I think a lot of people would like that. It seems like a lot of people, I'm sure, you know, the high fidelity graphics and the amazing looking graphics of nowadays are definitely more popular, but there's a big amount of people out there that would love like Bloodborne in a 2D style, or like a Final Fantasy VII in a 2D art style, or Final Fantasy X in a 2D art style. I think there's a movement of people out there that would love that. Do you think you could see something like that?
I agree. I think like the closest you can get to is something like Octopath Traveler.
Yeah.
The closest you can get. Yeah. But I think those are more if you look into indies, there are more of those kind of games. But it's definitely sad that you don't see it in like bigger companies. Like they have the resources, and it could be perhaps easier because they have the resources to do those kind of things. But yeah, other than Octopath Traveler, off of my head, I can't think of anyone that's trying to do those kind of things. I think just like maybe similar could be something like Fantasian or like I Am Sasuna.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, they try to do like a 3D, like Final Fantasy 3 sort of 3D, but 2D kind of version.
I remember watching you play that.
Which is super. It's so good, Zeph. I got it on the PS4.
Yeah.
Now I got 2 copies of the game. If I have 2 copies of the game, I like that game.
Right. Yeah, I think probably Octopath Traveler is similar in that style, but I just remember they are doing a Final Fantasy 7. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like all of the entire compilation they're turning into, like, it's not 16-bit style, but it is kind of that kind of style with weird combat mechanics. Do you remember hearing something about that? I think it's called The Last Soldier or Final Fantasy 7. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head.
Isn't that the Battle Royale one? Or are you talking about something else?
Yeah, they're doing that, but they're also doing like the entire compilation of Final Fantasy 7 from like Crisis Core all the way to Advent Children in this. I'm going to look it up because like it's crazy. Have you not heard about this?
I can't seem to recall.
Last Order, that's what it's going to be called. Yeah, it's associated with the compilation of Final Fantasy 7. It's a series of prequels and sequels to Final Fantasy 7, and it's going to be no. That's I think that was an anime. Oh, I can't even remember what it's called off the top of my head. Integrate? No, that's the PS5 one that came out. Oh, we'll figure it out later. But like it's going to be the entire compilation done in this turn-based. It's hard to explain because it is kind of that older. It's almost like Octopath Traveler level graphics, but the combat is like Final Fantasy 7 Remake graphics. It's really weird. Like imagine Octopath Traveler, but when they get into a battle, it turns into like PS5 level looking amazing graphics. Super funky.
That'd be interesting to see. Definitely interesting. Because I think it's similar to like older games as well. When you're in the open world, the characters, you look different compared to like when you're in town itself.
Right. That's something that I feel
that's
like
what I see it.
When people, because I think Final Fantasy 7 still holds up so well nowadays in so many aspects, like the characters, the music, the materia system, and the limit breaks, and it's still so good. And the one turn off for a lot of people still is the graphics, and I really do get it because like the in battle graphics I think still look pretty solid. The CGI cutscenes still look pretty solid, but the blocky characters and like the outside world with the weird hands that are like smushed in and then the big old brick of hands, it's like I get it. I get why some people are like, what is this? And it's crazy just how much of a difference from 7 to 8 there was, because like the graphics in 8 are way better. I mean, they still have that PS1 level like overworld kind of funky looking design, but like everything else, they did the jump between 7 and 8 is astronomical, I feel like.
I agree. And imagine they only took like what, about 2 years in between releases? That blows my mind, man. And then I get it why Final Fantasy 7 Remake like they're doing it in pieces. I get it. Like they announced it too early.
Yes.
Too early.
Yes.
So they have to like give some results or else.
Right. Do you think they could have,
as a company, not anyone, not a person, but as a company?
Do you think they could have in some way turned Final Fantasy 7 into one singular title and still kept everything in it? Because there are games like Persona and like The Witcher that are these massive 150 200 hour behemoth of games that span so much and have so much to them. I do think maybe Final Fantasy 7 might even have an even bigger world than something like The Witcher 3, because there are so many areas and so many locations and stuff. But do you think if they would have maybe started in 2015, kept going until like 2025, they could have built an entirety full world game in one single title?
Perhaps, but they have to get rid of the fillers that they put in the first part.
And all of them.
And perhaps like I'm not a game developer or any expert, but I'm thinking like maybe the small, very very small pixels or very small details that they put in, especially on like the Mako itself. When
Yeah.
when you see Aerith and this very small sort of the Mako like shines and all this kind of stuff, maybe that has to be reduced in order for like the entire game to be all fit into one CD. Or maybe it can be like at least 2 CDs, but in one game, like in the first game had 3 CDs.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, they can just bring it back, guys. Just bring back the multiple CDs. It's okay.
Right.
Like, I can't imagine someone, Call of Duty. Those games are massive, right?
Yeah.
I've never actually seen it. It just like popped up in my head. How do they look in like CD form? Maybe they have like the base game on the CD, but you have to like download the rest in order to be able to play that game. Otherwise, you can't. Otherwise, imagine like, because those games can go up to like 500 gigs or something. I might be exaggerating because I don't play those games.
I think I've seen Warzone is the biggest one. I think it was like 170 or 180 gigs, which is still, I mean, if you have a PS5, that's a third of your entire console right there, on one single game. But yeah, isn't it mind-blowing to think that back in the day, Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9, and 10, all 4 of those games came out within like a 4-year period?
Exactly.
Isn't that crazy to think?
How did they do it? I'm not even sure if they had different teams for it. I never actually like looked it up, but just looking every time that I look at the release dates of those games, I'm like, how did they manage to chunk out these games, like these quality of games in the short period of time? With you see the names, some names popping up for every game, like the Tetsuya Nomura, Kitase, all that. All these kind of people, the same people doing these games, and in that short span of time, like how? If I work on one project for work, I just got to do that. I can't multitask to other things, or otherwise my brain will just explode.
Right.
Props to them, man. Props to them.
Yeah, they made some of the best games of all time. All 4 of those titles, some of the biggest like masterclass work of video games in history, and they did it all within a 4-year period. And I don't even know, maybe there is an element that the games were easier to make back then, in a sense of like you didn't need as big a team, because now with games like God of War 2 or like God of War and a lot of these titles, like these are hundreds of millions of dollars projects with thousands of people working on them and marketing that spans all the continents across the world, and they're like a lot of these titles are like bigger than movie releases now. Like video games have ascended into that stratosphere of like the Marvel movies and the Pixar movies. Now when like a new Cyberpunk is coming out, like that's on par with like the new Dune movie or the new Star Wars movie or whatever. Like they have ascended to that status. And back in the day they weren't really like that. Like Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda, and those were like big titles back then, but they weren't behemoths of world marketing that have consumed the world like it is now.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how like they tried to experiment. I'm not sure if you seen it before, like Final Fantasy 13, when they tried to like market it. It went to a point where Lightning, she modeled for, I want to say Prada, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. I think in 7 Remake, didn't they do like Snickers or
Butterfingers or something like that?
Yes. And if you got like certain amounts, you could get like special not materia, but you could get like different armor and stuff in there.
Yes. And even I remember Augustin doing this. He bought Red Bull because like I don't know, maybe with like every Red Bull purchase he can get fridge magnets for Final Fantasy 7, and that was exclusive in Japan. I was like, God damn it. I love this.
God, August. I love August. He's so awesome. Kind of as we're talking about Final Fantasy 7 and remake and all of that, what are your feelings, your hype level for Final Fantasy 16 out of curiosity?
I think I'm gonna love it, no matter what it is, because the like some people might not like the action, like it's action based, but the person who's working on it was from Capcom, right? He was from Devil May Cry, and
Right.
Devil May Cry is one of my favorite video games of all time. Right up there with maybe just a little bit lower than Final Fantasy, but yeah, I love Devil May Cry. So whatever he can bring on board, I'm on board.
Yeah.
I'm full in 100%. Even if like Devil May Cry sometimes is a miss. I didn't like 2. I didn't really particularly like 4, but 5 just like Retribution.
Yeah.
I love 5. I love 3. I love 1. So I'm all on board. Like they might have new things to bring to the Final Fantasy franchise itself, and it'll perhaps elevate it to a new level. Like you can't imagine it can happen, but it could happen. I'm all on board, and especially like the creative people behind 14 as well are doing 16, right? And I've heard, like I haven't really played 14 myself, but everyone loves it, so it's got to be good, right?
Yeah, I swear there's like a cult religion following of Final Fantasy 14 at this point, because everyone who touches it, it just like turns them to gold. Everybody that's touched it has absolutely fallen in love with it. And there's a part of me that really wants to jump into it, but I'm kind of terrified I'll love it so much it'll like entirely consume everything. So I'm kind of like hesitantly staying away, but still intrigued.
I feel like for MMOs, you gotta go all in. If you're going in, you gotta go all in. Otherwise, you don't get the best experience that you could get from it. Like it could be a good experience, but if you're not all in, you don't get the best experience, and you don't feel things that you want from the game itself.
Right.
Especially considering like you gotta pay for the game and for the sub. Like I know there is the free trial, but if you want to get the full experience, you got to pay for it twice and monthly as well. So yeah, for me, if you want to get into 14, you got to dedicate the time to it.
Right And it's one of those things that just, yeah, it's not like a game where you can just boot it up and play it for like 30 minutes. Like maybe like Hades, you can play like 30 minutes. You could do like a quick run of it, or, some of these other titles like Pokemon Go on your phone. That one just came to me. Or like Fortnite, just jump in and do a couple matches. It's one of those things where tonight we're playing Final Fantasy 14 and I'm going to spend 5 hours playing it, and we're going to raid with friends, and we're going to go do dungeons, and we're going to do things. And there's some people I follow on Twitch who do really cool like group events with 14. They'll kind of get everyone together, and then they'll do like photo opportunities, or they'll do like different costumes. Some people had like weddings in Final Fantasy 14. They got married in it. And I'm like, this is like the next step would be like a VR simulation where you just put it on and like you're the characters. Like it's like the step before that, because it's so, people just like get lost in this world, and it is a huge world. So yeah, I'm very intrigued with it, and I'm so fascinated, even in like more of a philosophical sense, with like how video games have come to this point where I've always been a single player video game person, like Final Fantasy or Halo or God of War or whatever, where it's like you play the campaign, you play the story, and then that's it. But now there's these games where people can literally just live in this entirely different world, this different planet with people from all across the world, and you can look the way you want to look, and you can have different abilities the way you want to have them, and all of a sudden you can get married in games, and you can ride chocobos and fly across the world, and it's mind-blowing. It's really crazy that we've gotten to this point.
And they're actually like not something new. I've been like, there's also Final Fantasy 11 that also tried it, but there's also like other games, from like other publishers that have
Warcraft.
Been doing the same thing for like so many years, if not maybe upwards of 10 years as well. Like before getting back into like playing games on Steam, on PS4, I also played MMOs as well. I played is a game called Vindictus. Is a developed by South Korean developers, if I'm not mistaken, DevCat, and published by Nexon.
Okay.
It's an amazing game. I love it. It's more of a hack and slash MMO game compared to like Final Fantasy is more of like a point and click. So you just like point to the enemy and then you just click like one or two to do your skills, which is it is similar in that sense in Vindictus, but it's more action. Maybe you can imagine like Devil May Cry sort of action. You gotta dodge when you need to dodge, and then there's like in frames. It's amazing. I love that video game. And we can do almost, not all, but almost exactly what you mentioned earlier. You can do like events, there's raids, you can do global raids, you can just do raids with friends, and it's so much fun. I remember when I was in university, I would, after classes, I would just sit down, play a game or two with friends, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just here for like an hour because I gotta do homework after this. I got assignments to pass up tomorrow, and then the next thing I know, it's midnight.
That's how you know it's a good book or a good game or a good movie or a TV series. TV series are like notorious for that. You watch one episode and then all of a sudden you're like 18 episodes later and it's 2 a.m. and yeah, it's almost this like binge kind of content where you just want to keep diving in and getting more.
Exactly. And then what's worse if you get to if you're near the daily reset. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Where like every day you gotta, like, the game tells you kill this boss 3 times or whatever, do a fetch quest or something, and then you finish the dailies, you get the rewards with that, which probably is good. That's why they want you to do it every day.
Right.
So you finish that, and then sometimes, especially with me, I'm not in the like the US time zones, and usually these kind of games, they're more sensitive to that. I would like maybe 10 o'clock p.m. would be the reset, and then we're just like, we gotta rush this to finish this off so that we can get all the stuff,
goodies.
and then 10 o'clock reset, let's do it again.
Right. That's awesome.
It's the best.
Especially when you play games with friends, and that's been something streaming on Twitch that I've really come to realize. I've never, like I said, been much of a multiplayer type of person, but it's really opened me up into that sense of like wanting to do stuff like that, and wanting to get together with Caerien or Zach or August and Aerith and get people together and just play games together. And even if it's something as simple as like marbles on stream or Jackbox or whatever the games are, like just something to hang out with friends. And do you feel like in a sense Twitch has almost kind of brought you out of that shell? Like, speaking as myself as an introvert, I was never really the one to want to go out there, and it's really kind of made me more like I want to reach out to friends and do stuff like podcasting with them or playing games with them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same, man. We're both introverts. If you ask like my friends IRL, they would be like, yeah, I don't talk unless there's like, okay, so I had this friend. She would tell me that she gets excited every time when I actually reply something on WhatsApp on the chat, group chat thing. And why? She says is because I don't actually say much. So when I do, she says it must be something interesting.
Yeah.
So she always get excited when I say something. And it makes me think like, wow, am I really that bad of an introvert?
But it means when you say something...
It's so sweet to hear that from her as well.
It means when you say something, though, people will like pay attention, right? There's more... Exactly. It's almost like sometimes...
It's never really the case, to be honest, when I was with... It doesn't matter who, so I'm not trying to like pinpoint it to any one of my friends. But I always felt like I don't... Like, even if I say something, no one listens. So what's the point of saying anything? Just keep things to myself, unless people are like, hey Caerien, what do you think about this? Or hey Caerien, do you want to do this or whatever? So unless people like approach me and ask me to join them or whatever, I would usually just like, okay, I'm in the corner, I'm just listening, and it's gonna be fine. I'm safe. This is my safe space. I'm good. We're friends. We're happy together. It's maybe like a false sense of like security in a way, and Twitch has like sort of like brought me out. now I'm more to like, even with my IRL friends who don't even know that I stream, I would be the one like approaching them and asking, I'm like, hey, let's go out and have fun, or let's just do this thing, or are you free today? I just want to do this thing and I thought you would like to do it together. So I honestly, like, despite whatever bad things about, like, you know, being public, being live on the internet, I would say like Twitch is definitely a positive experience, and I as long as it's still positive in my mind, I will keep on doing this.
Absolutely. Like that positive has to outweigh any of the negatives, right?
Exactly. And then the fun experiences. Oh God, I'm not sure if you realize it, but like currently I'm starting back the like spoopy. Sorry, we call it Scaredy Spooktober, which I've been doing it. I did it last year, and it didn't really turn out well because I was playing such a scary game. But then this year I got more prepared. So I was like, okay, we play something that's not too scary, but still considered scary. And then we go up from there. And it's been great. It's a good experience. And I gotta say, perhaps it's my personality that I'm so bad at scary games. Even like a small jump scare would just like,
Yeah.
like things that people say is not Caerien friendly, as in I usually don't swear, but in this case, like, come on, jump scares, like, I gotta do the F-bomb or whatever.
Right.
Whatever that comes to mind. And sometimes I even swear in Malay. And I'm not sure if you know this, but especially if you're bilingual, but if you usually speak like one language, like for me it's English, if you swear in the other language, that means it's bad.
Oh, okay.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying. It's like if it's a bad, like, jump scares is super bad. If it's like, if you're mad, then you're like super mad. So it elevates your whatever emotions that you're feeling. So yeah, I've sworn in Malay a few times already, so it's that bad. But it's a good experience. People like it, and I actually do like doing it as well. I don't know if that means I'm like a masochist or something, but I like doing it.
It's good to like try new kind of what we were talking about earlier. It's good to try new things. Is that kind of like the reason why your like camera border is in black and white for Spooktober?
Yeah.
October. Gotcha.
I told people like, oh, when the clock strikes midnight on the 1st of October, suddenly I lose color.
Ooh.
Suddenly, even I'm seeing, oh no, it's all black and white. Oh gosh, Zeph, what's the color of my scarf? Oh God, Zeph, be there. It's black and white.
Right.
and that's
right.
like a joke because B is black and white.
Right. Kind of even speaking on that, because I know as streamers, we all know the importance of how emotes connect with us and how they kind of bring our communities together. Where did the idea of your emotes come from, out of curiosity? Kind of stemming off that.
Okay. Well, my most famous one, which everyone, I feel like most people who has like who has commented on it, yeah, they love it. That is actually from Ryman. So if you want to know where he got it from, you got to ask him. You got to get him on your podcast again, because I don't know. He was like, "Hey, Caerien, I think this looks great, and this is great for you." I'm like, I love this. Okay, thanks, Ryman.
It's kind of got that like kind of face.
Exactly. It's kind of like a kappa, but only if you think it's a kappa. So it might not be a kappa, but depends on the person who uses it. So you're like trying to get into that person's psyche as well. Like, is he using this as a kappa, or is this a smiley face, or no? Or
even what we were talking about earlier, the way people like perceive things differently. Because I always thought of like the Aerith emote as an example, the sippy emote. I always just thought of that as just, I don't know, I'm sipping coffee like I always drink coffee all the time. And a lot of people have told me they see it as more of like a kind of a sassy kind of emote. So if you're kind of typing something and you want to add some sass to it, you'll add the Aerith emote to it. I'm like, I didn't even really intend or think of it to use it like that. And yeah, it's interesting, kind of the same way with the meow emote. You know, it's can have some of that sass to it, can kind of have some kappa, can kind of have some snarkiness in a fun way.
Exactly. I love it. Whereas the rest of my emotes is just what I do offhand. I drew them, so it's not really that big of a like quality sort of emote. It's just
Oh,
whatever.
they look good.
Whenever I feel stressed at work, actually, because I'm working here, I'm working from home. So whenever I'm like too stressed and I feel like, okay, I need like a 20-minute break or a 30-minute break, I would just bring out my iPad and just draw something, and then it came to life. There was one of them was legit that like I was really stressed out at work, and I thought, you know what, I want to make fun of my friends, so I listened to offhand while I'm working. Like I want to make fun of them in a nice way. Okay, in a nice way.
love.
So I drew that, and then I'm like, I uploaded, and then they did something funny, and then I posted that. And that was like legit. That's all I wanted to do, just because I wanted to make fun of my friends.
I didn't know that you did your own emotes. Do you use like an Apple Pencil and an iPad, and do you use a particular like Photoshop or something?
I forgot what's the app that I use. I have to check it. So can't really do that now, but I just use a free app, and then what I do is make sure it looks nice and all that, and then email it to myself and then do like some finishing touches on Photoshop and then upload it.
That's really, really cool. I find artists are kind of, I'm so envious of artists in a way. The ability to just pick up a pen and paper or like an iPad or pencil or whatever and just like literally have nothing and create art out of nothing. I think that is absolutely an incredible skill to have, whether it's just more of a hobby or more of a pastime or something that, you know, a lot of people I've talked to, some people I've had on the podcast do it for commissions and sell their art and stuff. I find that incredibly talented and very envious in a way. I imagine it's probably similar, people who look at musicians in a way, to just pick up something and just music comes out of it. I feel that same way with artists for sure.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the person, right? For you, it's music. For me, it's either writing or doing like that sort of simple art. Because growing up as well, I did a few art here and there, but I never really pursued it. So it never really, like, I didn't know all the techniques and whatnot, and I never really tried to experiment. But I was quite, I would say in my own evaluation, I was quite good at like traditional drawing with pen and paper or pencil, I would say. And digital art is just like, it's over my head. It's so hard. I don't get it. So that's why I just do like minimal stuff. But honestly, it does like relieve so much stress. It relieves like through some of like my hurdles in life. That is what I go back to make myself feel better, whether it be drawing, whether it be writing. I wrote a lot when I was younger. I even had like some like novels that I was, you know, thinking of publishing, but, you know, I never went into fruition. But yeah, it definitely helped, especially when I was at my lows. And I will continue doing it. Whether I wanted to pursue it as like a career or anything is still in the air. I am open to it, but like for now, I am okay for it to just be something to just help relieve stress.
Do you almost find it like meditation in a way? You just kind of like get in the zone of it and the rest of the world disappears in a sense, and you're just kind of doing that specific piece of art?
Honestly, yeah. And it depends on what I wanted to do at that time. So when I was like, especially in high school, I was doing, as I said, like sort of like a novel. So we had characters, like original characters, and then sometimes it's not even about writing itself. Sometimes it's just I take a big A3 paper. I'm like, okay, this person will do this thing to this other person, like map out the entire story, and that would just take the entire day, and I'm fulfilled. I'm happy.
That is really cool. Like a visual story as opposed to like the letters and the wording story.
Well, more so that, like, say Caerien, and then we'll talk to Zeph, and then we'll talk about Aerith. Like, it's sort of like just picture out the
Storyboard.
what will happen in the story. Yeah. Before actually supposedly writing it, but I never get to actually write it.
Oh, gotcha. That is really, really cool. To be able to do that and just bring it off the top of your head into that, I think that's really, really cool. This one though, I think this could be a really fun question. This one's for Aerith. Do you believe that Sora deserved to be in Smash, or should it have been someone else out of curiosity?
Oh, Sora? So I don't play Smash. So this is coming from a perspective that I don't play. Okay.
Okay.
But I love seeing people play, and then you sort of get to see the competitive side when they play. Or some people are just like, they just chill, they don't mind.
Right.
And some people try to be like, okay, analyzing, they try to like see where did I go wrong this when this person does this move, what should I do next instead. In terms of Sora, I honestly didn't think it would happen, because with the like the Disney, the licensing and all that kind of like things that had to happen for him to come out.
Right.
I honestly thought that they couldn't do it, but I feel like because it's so hard to get Sora in, that is the best thing ever that he came as the last character. I love it. And I played Kingdom Hearts when I was younger. It's not to say my favorite franchise, but I don't hate the franchise. But yeah, I love that they went through all the hurdles. It could have been years that they were trying to make Sora happen.
Yeah.
But the fact that they made it happen and he's the last is amazing. I honestly, I'm so thrilled for him. Not just Aerith, but anyone else who wanted Sora in. And then I'm not sure if you, like, I'm active on Twitter. Sorry, I'm active on Twitter. I'm not sure if you're active as what I see. But my timeline on that day itself, and also like the next
Sora.
2 or 3 days, was exactly. I love it. I love seeing it. It's so amazing. It touches my heart. Oh God, I'm honestly really happy. So because I don't play Smash, to say that if I preferred someone else, I would have preferred, because I know he's in the Mii character, if I'm not mistaken. So there's no chance for him to be as a real character himself. But I really wanted Dante to be in.
Ooh, that would have been really cool.
Yeah. And then I don't know if you know the memes in Twitter where whenever Dante is featured in another game, like he's in Shin Megami Tensei.
Okay.
When I think the first time they put him in Shin Megami Tensei, with the box art, they would splash like a sticker saying featuring Dante from Devil May Cry, and that has been like a meme for so many years, and I just wanted that, so that when you see the box art or for Smash, someone would just like Photoshop, bam, featuring Dante for Devil May Cry. I just wanted that. That's all. But that's just me from not playing Smash.
I haven't played Smash myself, so I'm not quite as involved in the Twitter discussions and stuff about it, but it seemed a lot of people were super hyped for Sora. And then I think there wasn't a Sephiroth and Sora fight in Kingdom Hearts 3. So I saw a lot of people who were like finally going to be able to get that Kingdom Hearts 3 Sephiroth Sora fight that we never got.
Because I never played 3, so I don't know about that. But yeah, you can fight him in 1 and 2, if I'm not mistaken, in the Coliseum.
The second one, he was really
so hard.
Yeah, the second one was intense.
So hard, man.
Right.
I never got to beat him. I remember. I think like after I don't know how many tries, I called my brother. It's like, here, please, I'm begging you,
for me.
let me beat him.
I've played 1, 2, and 3, and I played 1 and 2 when I was like 13, 14, and I really, the first one I liked, but the second one I really liked. I was a big fan of the second one. The third one, I was excited for it. I like pre-ordered it and everything, and then when I played it, I kind of just beat it, and I don't know, I just felt like maybe it's just because I'm older, maybe just because a lot of the Disney characters and the whole elements of it didn't really mesh with me as much. Also the story, I have no idea what was going on with the story and all the characters and Xenoheart, and I was like, I don't understand. I mean, I even took like a refresher of 1 and 2 and came into 3, and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. But a lot of people have explained that there's a lot of in-between games that kind of tie it all together. For me, when it comes to storylines, and this is something I am a little intrigued with like Final Fantasy VII Remake, is whenever there's like multiple timelines or multiverse or like time travel stuff, I'm always really weary and cautious of stuff like that, because like it's very hard for that to ever be done well, and there's not a lot of examples of like a time travel kind of scenario that has been done well. I'm still really hopeful that 7 Remake will kind of, I feel like it already has done some things that are a little intriguing in a sense, but like, I don't know, I almost feel like that's a very, oh, this is gonna get a lot of hate, but I feel like that's a very Tetsuya Nomura thing to do, is to just like, you know what, this is kind of simple, we need to complicate this a lot more, let's add timelines and multiverse and time travel and multiple versions of stuff in here, and then it just gets blown out of proportion.
I feel you though. I don't hate you. I feel you. Actually, with like a TV, like movies, usually if it starts to have like a multiverse or like multiple timelines or whatever, I just shut my brain off and then I just watch. You know, I don't try to question it, because it would either be I just don't understand it, or it's too complicated to understand, and like I want to watch it to enjoy myself.
Right.
I don't want to. Don't want to go into science class.
Yeah, yeah, I that happened recently with the Loki TV show. I don't know if you've seen it on Disney.
No, I haven't.
But yeah, they kind of went similar with that, and not something I'm crazy about. Like, I feel like almost it's an art to create a simple story that's done really well, and sometimes it feels like there's just a lot of movies and TV shows and books and stuff that just feel like they have to overly complicate a good simple story, and that's kind of why I'm a little worried about Final Fantasy VII, is because while it did have elements of like the cycle of life and the life stream and stuff like that, it was for the most part a pretty simple start to end type of story, you know, aside from, I mean, maybe Advent Children kind of spruced that up a little bit, but like the original story did have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And have you heard a lot of the theories that Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII Remake might be like the Sephiroth after Advent Children, and it's almost like a life stream kind of recycle of the original game?
Yeah, that's what I heard, and I honestly would go for that rather than it's a remake of the original, because there's so many elements that are different, and I would have preferred it would be something that's like after Advent Children, maybe after Dirge of Cerberus even. And I have I've watched a few videos on it where it, like, if I'm not mistaken, Yuffie DLC gives a sort of Dirge of Cerberus 2 vibes, that it was actually they wanted it to come out, but then I think they canceled the project or something. So instead of having a Dirge of Cerberus 2, they do Yuffie DLC in that sort of sense, which I honestly would prefer that rather than they just remake the original. So the original still stands. It's not like something that you can just scrap it off. Take it out of the store like they did with the original Final Fantasy 1 to 6, the pixels on the Steam store. Like, they just take it out and then here's the new ones. Because there's so much into the original 7 that you don't get even in the Midgar part in Remake, which just let it be as it is. And I know I have some friends who want it to just be as a real like a remaster, but I honestly don't want that. I don't want that.
It almost feels like if they did like a 1-for-1 copy of the original, it might be like the easy way out, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Maybe easy, maybe just some might say lazy as well, because there are some things in the original that might not be okay nowadays.
They still did the honeybee and stuff though. I was so happy they did that. I was like, yes, and they did it. Aside from Cloud all of a sudden becoming the best breakdancer in the world out of nowhere, that was a little like, I don't think this was a part of the story, but okay. Aside from that, I thought they did a good job with the honeybee and stuff.
Well, Cloud did do a twirl right in the I forgot where it was. It was a gold saucer. They were on a stage, and then they were reenacting something.
You're right. Yeah, with Aerith.
He did do a twirl.
Or the date.
Yeah.
Whoever the date is. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I'm really curious how they're gonna do Sid, because I like a lot of things about Sid as a character. I think he has a great story, but the way he talks to Shara, that was something as a kid that I didn't really pay attention to. I didn't really get how he was talking to her, but as an adult now, as a man who's married and has a wife, and just the way he talks so down upon her and bullies her and just picks on her. And I understand, like, she kind of ruined his dreams and all of that, but like, you kind of got to if something like that were to happen to someone, you kind of got to just separate them out of your life, and you can have harsh feelings for them as time goes on, but like, you don't need to constantly bully them day after day after day after day and just belittle them. So I'm really curious what they're going to do with Sid and how they're going to, because I don't think they can do that nowadays. I don't think they can make Sid that way. So how do you feel about all of that?
I'm just hoping it becomes similar in the sense that it's a character growth. Like maybe perhaps he didn't treat her nicely before, and then he grew. Then now he's treating her better. But yeah, I don't want it to be like that. Like same like you. When I was playing it before, I didn't really think of it. I just thought he was just a potty mouth. That's all. But then when you think about it more thoroughly now as an adult, you're like, yeah, that's a big no-no, man. That's a big no-no.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I think that they will go for. Hopefully.
I think having it as a character growth moment is really a really smart thing to do. Like, maybe not just be as aggressive, but maybe just kind of be a bit of a jerk to her, or just kind of make some slight rude comments here and there. And then you see that kind of did happen in the original, actually, because like towards the end of the game, he did have you know, when the rocket ship was about to blow up and he realized like she was actually right and everything, there was a little bit of a growing moment for him. But yeah, I think with the amount of detail they're going to go into it, hopefully, again, keeping it simple, kind of with the story arc and everything, hopefully it's just one of those good stories that starts over here and has a trajectory growth and takes us on a roller coaster of emotions. I'm hoping. Yeah,
same. Sorry, I think my cat's
kind of. You're totally fine. You're kidding.
Just give me a minute.
Oh,
sorry.
Good.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit antsy. sorry.
You're good. You
okay? Yes, sorry if it looked like I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, you're totally fine.
He's
has opinions.
He just wants to, he wants people to acknowledge him. He just wants people to make sure he's there, he's alive.
Yes. One question that I was a little curious on is, I saw you recently uploaded a video on YouTube. Do you have any future plans?
I saw that follow.
Yes. Do you have any future plans for branching out onto other platforms like TikTok or Instagram, or doing more YouTube content in the future?
I actually, so if you did see my my YouTube, I did have some videos from, I don't know, maybe 2016. Like there were thumbnails that I made. There was some sort of effort. But I'm still I'm not sure. I'm trying to thread those waters. I was asking Agus and Aerith, okay, what program do I need to be able to do this thing that I want to do? And then they helped me out. I just haven't started it yet. But I'm thinking more to trying to do on TikTok perhaps rather than YouTube. Just to see, just try out, because I've already tried YouTube and there are some views there, but my thing with YouTube is I wanted to keep it as more of when I am a quote unquote try hard, when I try to beat things or beat bosses that I per se am under leveled to do or under skilled to do, but I managed to do it, and this is like an epic moment. I love this moment. Sort of that's the Caerien on YouTube
highlights. Whereas the good
on
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas on TikTok, I'm trying to maybe try and be funny. I haven't. There's nothing on my TikTok, but in my head that this is what I want to do. So spoiler alert. Maybe try and have some funny moments on there, and then redirect them back to Twitch, perhaps.
Ooh, a good idea. And
so we'll see. We'll see.
And TikTok, like you could even upload TikTok clips onto YouTube as YouTube Shorts, because they have like the very similar format as well.
I heard about YouTube Shorts, but I have no idea what that is.
It's essentially exactly like TikTok. Like when you're scrolling on the recommended page, it has like all the thumbnails and normal videos that you see, but eventually you'll get to like a little short section. And I think there's a button on the bottom as well. It's like the home button, your profile, and then there's a short section, but it turns it into like a YouTube version of TikTok where it looks exactly like it, and you can scroll up to down, and it looks very interesting. And I've talked to a couple creators who take their stream highlights and turn them into like TikTok clips and stuff, and they've also started putting them on YouTube for the YouTube Shorts. They've put them on Instagram, on the Instagram Reel stuff. And it's interesting how the exact same clip across the 3 different platforms, they might perform differently between each one. Like one friend I was talking to had one clip get like 3,000 views on YouTube Shorts, and that exact same clip on TikTok and Instagram Reels got like 100 views. So
yeah, that's why I was like thinking. So if I were to open up my platform to more than just Twitch, it would be different things. I don't want it to be the same thing, so that when people see I uploaded something on TikTok, they can expect, oh, this is going to be something funny, for example. Or when I do something on YouTube, this could be something like, oh, she's going to die to a boss again, isn't she?
I kind of having different content, like a specific reason for following on YouTube and a specific reason for following on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know some people, they have like multiple accounts on YouTube for that same reason, which is fine. And initially I thought doing it like that, but then there's people on TikTok, man. Yeah. And a lot of things consumed on TikTok. So why not thread those waters? Why not try that? So yeah, it's been in the back of my mind for a long time, actually. I think I started thinking about it in May. But you know how long it took me to like actually stream? So that's the same thing. I'm not changing. It takes me months to like get from an idea to actually like create the account, then from creating the account to actually learning about the software or whatever that's needed to edit a video or something like that. So yeah, I'll just take my time. It's okay.
Sometimes I almost feel like I get analysis paralysis in a sense, because like I have an idea that I want to do something and I just keep trying to figure out how to get there, and then I start consuming content to get better, like how to start this, read articles, and then before I know it, my head's overfilled with too much information, and I have to have like, this happened kind of with streaming. Like I probably could have started a lot earlier, but like I had to have the nice Blue Yeti microphone, I had to have the camera all set up right way, I had to have the overlays and everything looking good. And sometimes I do, as I've gotten older through doing content creation, there's definitely a sense of me now where it's like quality is good, but sometimes I think quantity is underrated. Like it's almost like you should try to have a goal for how much of how many TikToks you want to do a week, or how many YouTube videos you want to do a week, and then whatever time commitment you can have for that would be like the quality aspect. So if you're going to do like a TikTok video a week, even if it's like really poor in the beginning, as you keep doing more and more and more and more, they're going to get better because you're going to get more comfortable with editing. You're going to get more comfortable with doing them and shooting the videos and everything. So it is kind of that. Sometimes the best thing to really do is to just start doing it, even if it's terrible, because the other truth too is like kind of when it comes to streaming as well, most times people aren't going to be there at the very beginning. It's going to be like your 10th video or your 50th video or your 100th video, or, you know, by your 50th stream, now all of a sudden you have a couple reoccurring people coming in. So sometimes just getting that foot out the door and just going for it, even if it's not up to what your brain would say is good quality, sometimes that's the best thing to do.
And then also, sadly, it's not just that. It's also when you upload. The time that you upload is also another factor in where, like, let's say if you upload in like at 4 a.m., there's just gonna be the people who are night owls who will just be there, but maybe per se those night owls are not the audience for your content. So even if you upload at 4 a.m., it's not gonna happen. So maybe you have to figure out when is the best time to upload so that a lot more people will consume that content as well. That is like the hardest thing for me to like figure out.
But what about like different time zones throughout the world? Like if you upload something like right now, there's going to be people who are, it's 8 p.m. like myself. There's going to be people where it's midnight, but some people it might be 6 in the morning. Other people it might be 12 in the afternoon. So there's always, I almost have a sense if it's good content and it's consistent content, that the algorithm will kind of do the heavy lifting regardless of what time you put it out. Because I was thinking that same exact thing when I was uploading my podcasts. I was like, should I pick a certain time, like 2 p.m. or 4 p.m.? And then I just pretty much was like, I'm just going to upload them at noon every single time and not worry about it, because you're relying on the algorithm to do the heavy lifting for you and to push it out. And that's where a lot of YouTube content gets fed now. And I'm sure TikTok is pretty similar in a sense, where it doesn't really matter what time it's posted. It depends more on what you interact with, what you like, and you comment, and then the algorithm will like feed it to you at just the right time.
I guess, yeah, you're right though. I was thinking it more of a local perspective, I guess, because I actually do have a friend who is trying their best into like uploading on YouTube, uploading on TikTok, and that person is actually more local oriented because they speak in Malay. So whenever he like touches about this topic and then gets into my head like, oh yeah, that is also a factor that I need to take into consideration. And I'm like, oh, how do I do this then? How do I know like I know myself, I'm not gonna consume anything past midnight. But that's me. Some people, they're like, let's say they're busy at work and then they only start to like consume personal stuff at midnight. Right. So it was like, you know, is this like fight in my head, like what time if I were to do something? But then again, I didn't even make the video yet. Why am I thinking this?
Right.
As well.
And the other aspect.
So yeah, it's a lot of thoughts.
The other aspect as well, I feel like that would only really matter in that situation on a chronological kind of time frame. But aside from YouTube's like subscription feed, most content now is algorithmic based. So whether it is on Instagram or TikTok, I don't even think TikTok has a chronological order. It's like the For You page and then your following page, but there's nothing chronological about it. So it's almost like it doesn't matter what time you upload because it's not going to get shown on a chronological feed anyway. The only one I can really think of is the subscription feed on YouTube. But a lot of creators I've talked to, most of their YouTube viewers are non-subscribers. They're being recommended to them by the algorithm on the recommended page. So I would say if it's something you want to do, I wouldn't worry too much about the time frame, or maybe even experiment. Maybe make a couple videos and schedule them out where one gets posted at 2 p.m., one's at 4, one's at 6, one's at midnight, maybe one's at 6 in the morning, and just kind of see if there's a difference. But I would probably guess most of it is going to be the algorithm doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah, you're right. It's just something that I think about also whenever I try to like do my Twitch schedule as well. So like I don't only think like, oh, 8 p.m. is convenient for me, so I'm just gonna do it at 8 p.m. Sometimes I think about like, oh, 8 PM for me is like so early morning for people like you, for people in your area. So like I don't want to limit to just, you know, I want Zeph to come in. I want Zeph to say hi. I want Zeph to see me play this game, and I know he'll love this game or something like that. Just an example. So that's why I try to like, okay, weekend, let's do this in the morning. So even if you're not around, or anyone who I want to be around, if someone's in that time zone and then they're like, oh look, this person is interesting, let's try it. And then what if that person becomes like, you know, my new best friend?
Right.
Who knows? Because like some people, they like want to stream just, you know, to get like the normal people coming in, same people coming in, so they have that, you know,
schedule,
familiarity of some sorts. But I like it if there's like new people coming in and then they say like, wow, I love your content, and I'm gonna even if they don't stick around for too long, as long as, you know, they come in, they like the experience, they're enjoying like what they see, then that just makes me happy enough.
Yeah, Twitch is a little different because it's not like a video specific. It's more, it is live in the moment. So Twitch is the one where you kind of do want to plan a specific time, but I would even say it's more, you want to plan a time that you can be consistent on, regardless if it might not be the most optimal time per se, because the best like viewer to streamer ratio on Twitch is actually, I believe, between 6 a.m. Pacific time and 12 p.m. Pacific time. That's where like there's the least amount of streamers with the most amount of viewer ratio on it, and then after that it kind of starts going down as like you know, people in Asia start going to bed, people in Europe are going into their evening time, people in America are kind of like still working. There is a little bit of a lull for it, but yeah, I would say Twitch is probably the exception on that. Twitch and the YouTube subscription feed are the ones where maybe planning the specific time is a little bit more to be thought of. But even then, if you're planning your content, you're like, I'm gonna stream at this time because it's the best time for like the Americas and the Europes and the Australias and Asias, and everyone kind of syncs up. But if it's at like 5 in the morning, you know, it might not work out in that sense. You kind of got to do whatever you're most consistent and most comfortable doing. Kind of like for myself, that's a big reason I wanted to stream early in the morning, because that's when I have the most brain power and I feel like I'd be the most consistent, because as the day goes on, my energy really dwindles. And I knew if I did this at like 7 p.m. at night instead of 7 a.m., I would be way more likely to call out. I'd be way more likely to not show up, to just be like, oh, I don't have the energy tonight, I worked at a long day, or X, Y, and Z, so we'll just call it off tonight. And I have seen that kind of happen sometimes when it comes to streaming like Mario Kart and stuff and community nights, where I want to do it, but it's been such a long, busy, exhausting day, I just don't have the energy for it. So yeah, I would say at the end of the day, consistency for yourself and your schedule on Twitch is probably the number one most important thing. But if you can swing that consistency to get Australia and Japan and Asia and Europe and like get all of the continents together to kind of be in a time frame where they would be watching Twitch, that's probably most optimal, you know?
Yeah, but it also depends on your content as well.
Yeah, it does.
So there's a lot
There's so
of
many
factors that
things.
comes in, and to balance that is so hard. But I think, you know, as long, I don't know, for me, I don't really, despite being an accountant, I don't really look at the statistics really. I just, as long as I feel when I do go live, there are people talking, I am enjoying myself, and a lot of people are enjoying themselves, that's a good day for me. That's a good day for me.
Absolutely.
The moment when there's silence, then I'm like, oh God, what did I do wrong? Did I say the wrong thing? Things start playing in my head, but I try to be dismissive of it, because usually it's you. It's like, it's me. It's nothing that I did wrong, but it's just my head that's just playing with myself.
Sometimes our like brains are our own worst enemies in the midst of while we're streaming. Do you turn your viewer count off out of curiosity, or do you keep it up?
on OBS it's off, but I use my iPad to actually like view myself.
Uh-oh.
So it's there.
Do you find yourself keeping an eye on it out of like habit?
Only I only think about it like when I raid. Actually, like as I said earlier, as long as there are people talking, there are people chatting, then I feel comfortable. I feel like, yeah, even if it's just one person, even if it's just this one person who always comes in, but as long as that one person still wants to consume my content, still excited for what I'm doing, then I say that's a good day. But when I start raiding, then that's when my mind starts playing like, oh, this person that I want to raid has like this amount of viewers, and I have this amount of viewers. Like, I'm not gonna raid Pokemon. Like,
maybe one day.
It's never gonna happen. Maybe one day, but it's like right now, as it is, I take that into consideration. And then when I see the numbers are lower when I raid, in my mind it's like, yeah, I shouldn't raid, I should just like say bye and that's it. But then especially if I'm raiding someone that I know, and I'm like, but these, like, let's say that this one person, he doesn't or she doesn't know this other streamer. What if I raid this person, the streamer, and they'll have the time of their life, they will. And it's actually happened, Zeph. Someone raided my channel. I forgot what I was playing. I think it was still either Persona or we already started doing Hades. But yeah, someone raided my stream, and then one of the viewers there, Ryan, he loved being in my stream, and I'm so thankful for that. And then I raided Zach, and that was when Zach was doing his 24 or 27 hours,
right
his really long stream, and that person stayed in Zach's stream for majority of the time. And
I know who you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, it warms my heart to hear that. And then I think the next few times that Zach streamed, I saw he was still there, and I was like, oh my god. Like, it doesn't matter whether that person, like, is not in my stream, or he is or is not coming to my streams anymore. I don't really care, as long as I was sort of like facilitating him liking Zach's stream. It warms my heart, really. I love it. That was like the most recent, like, best experience I had for like Twitch content. It's amazing.
I think you should always raid, in my opinion, unless you're like feeling down or feeling like under the weather and just like I don't know. Because I was feeling this a couple days ago, where I was just I ended the stream and I just was not really I had like a lot of backseating and a lot of stuff was going on, that just like the end of the stream, it was just like, I feel like I'm just gonna end the stream early. We're just gonna like raid out, and even though we've only been live for like 2.5 hours, I just want to kind of end the streaming and get out of here. But I think even if you have like 10 people and you're raiding into somebody else, or however many you have, even if you have one person, even if it's just yourself, I personally believe you should always raid if you got like the energy to go ahead and do it, because every single raid, I know it might sound cliche to say, but every single raid really does matter. Even if it's one person raiding in, throw a party for them, or if it's 10 people or 100 people or whatever the raid is, like every single person, that's them saying, this is how many people I got with my community I'm bringing over, and I'm trusting you to have a great time here and to accept them and to just, have a party with them and send good vibes. And I think it's always a good idea to raid, as long as you have that energy and that like mental kind of goodness to do so, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And even if, for me, even if I don't have that energy, I would usually just raid a friend, and then I'm just hoping that they understand, like, hey, I'm actually, like, it's past midnight, it's like 2 a.m, I'm kind of tired, so I'm just gonna raid and go, but I love you.
Right. And I think even stuff
and just
like
hoping that they understand.
Right. Right. And I feel like if it's one thing to raid and just bail immediately on like a brand new person you've never raided before, because then they'd be like, they just raided me and then immediately left. That's a weird vibe kind of thing. But if you raid like, you know, August or Aerith or like myself or anything, and you're just like, had a long stream, super late, gonna head to bed, totally get it 100%. Especially when you raid somebody, like if you're in Asia and you raid somebody in North America and it's like 2 a.m. in the morning for you, like obviously don't expect you to stay around too long, because you definitely got to get to bed. But yeah, I think it's always a good idea if you can to raid out, just because it's also, like you said, a great way to introduce communities to each other. Maybe all of a sudden person from X stream becomes great friends with Y stream, maybe get raided back in the future, maybe just communities like cross into each other. That's probably been one of my favorite aspects of Twitch, is when you go into somebody's stream that you're maybe not familiar with, and then you start seeing names pop up in chat that you are familiar with, and you're like, oh, like I'm seeing Caerien here and August here, and maybe I should follow them. And I'm assuming if they're here, they're going to be awesome people, like almost a stamp of approval without it, you know, saying it's a stamp of approval, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And when you mentioned that, it's like, I remember vividly, you shouted out August-kun, and that's how I met him. And like, now look at us, we're like
we're
best
great friends.
And it's definitely like whenever like someone raids and you like the vibes from them, we would definitely just like give them a chance, give them a follow, try not just give them a follow, but also go and watch the content as well, because that's when you know you vibe with them or not. And it's such an amazing experience. This is what I really, really do like Twitch for, and it's hard to get something like this other than like, I don't know, maybe just playing an MMO, because you might get that like if you suddenly like go in a random party and then you somehow vibe with someone else. But yeah, that's just like true keyboard, true very limited source. Whereas like streaming is like you see this person, if they don't have a camera, then you hear this person at least, right? So yeah, I honestly, I really do like it.
My friend Super Murgatroyd, I think, says the best. He says, turn those follows into friendships. So
exactly, I would agree.
Kind of even stemming a little bit off the YouTube conversation we had previously, what are some of your future ideas and goals you want to strive for when it comes to creating on Twitch in the future? Maybe additional content? Do you kind of have a path laid out for you on Twitch specifically that you kind of want to go down?
I don't know. So like even now, I kind of question myself, like, what is my goal here? And like currently all I'm thinking about is just sharing my first playthrough experience with people, whether be it is people who are longtime followers or people who like they come in for the game, maybe they would stay for me.
Right. Stay for the streamer.
That kind of thing. And as long as I enjoy doing it, I'll keep on doing it. I don't really have a definitive goal, but it's actually quite nice to like learn all this stuff. Like before this, I wouldn't actually know like how to do layouts, how to do overlays, I would say. But now I know. And like currently, I don't know how to edit videos, but maybe when I figure it out, then I'll know. Even if it's basic things. But yeah, I just want to try something new, and then just at my own pace. It doesn't have to be like, it's not like work, you have a deadline to it or anything. It's just at my own pace, as long as I'm comfortable, as long as I enjoy what I'm doing, I'm just gonna keep on doing it. So I don't know if it's gonna be like a 5-year thing, if this is gonna be like if I stop doing it like next month. But as long as I like this, as long as I'm enjoying myself, and as long as other people as well are enjoying themselves, I'm just gonna keep on doing it because it's fun. I like it.
Well, I absolutely enjoy your streams when I get a chance to watch them, and of course, like, you've been such a pivotal part of my entire Twitch experience. So meeting you has absolutely been a life-changing experience, and I hope you continue to stream, because I think there is still a lot of great Caerien content out there for people to consume in the future. I'm excited for the future of Caerien.
There's a lot of games I haven't played since I was like out of the like the console experience from like PS3 era. So expect more. Expect more.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Another one I got for you is, what's been the biggest highlight of your journey when it comes to streaming on Twitch?
Big highlight. So like life-changing experience, perhaps.
Or just like a really positive moment, or something like if somebody in the future says like, what was the best thing about streaming on Twitch? Like a moment that kind of pops up in your head.
Honestly, it's like meeting people. We talked about this extensively, but yeah, it really is about meeting people. Like, and I can give another example. One example is Ryan that we mentioned earlier, but another example is like Aerith. I did not know this person's prior to last year. I think we met in like July or something. Like it was actually on Twitter as well. Someone that I follow shouted him out on Twitter, said like, these are the Southeast Asian streamers that I recommend, check them out. And I'm like, okay, let's hit this person a follow, hit this person a follow, and all that. It's just like random follows. And yeah, I think I saw him started streaming. I was like, okay, let's just see what this person is playing. And they were playing Modern Warfare, one of those, first person shooters. Okay. I have nothing against them. I just can't play them, and I can't watch them because I get motion sickness. So, and honestly, it just kind of look the same.
Yeah, they're a vibe.
Yeah. There's something that whether you like it or you don't, right? And I'm in the side that I don't. So, but I was like, he's Southeast Asian. Let's just give him a try. So I just come in. I do what I normally do. I just look. I just try to see the vibe of the community first. And then after like maybe a while, like a stream or two, then I say hi. And then he was like, yeah, we were kind of like, okay, like, yeah, sure. Like, it wasn't really like a hit off yet. Then he started playing like, I don't know, Apex. It's just a similar thing. But I just like I realized that he was Malaysian. So I thought, I haven't watched many Malaysians, so let's just like keep watching him. Like, it's okay. It's not like I'm doing anything else. It's all right. And sometimes there are some funny stuff that happens in his stream. So, and it's funny, and I like it. But then when he started playing Fall Guys, when Fall Guys came out, it was a big hit because it was, the game itself is fun, and then the fact that you can like play with him as well, or anyone else, you can team up and then we can play together. And I was like, okay, dude, I'm gonna like buy this game, and if I don't like this game, it's on you. You gotta pay me back.
The rest is history.
And then it just went, exactly, the rest is history. And then, can you believe it, from that interaction, he ended up lending me his PS4, and I've had it for over a year now.
Wow.
And then now I'm just like catching up with all the library that is the PS4, the humongous library. And it's really like, it helped a lot. It helped a lot because as I said, I was playing MMOs since 2013 until upwards of like 2016, maybe 2017. That's when I just like I stopped playing that game. So I wanted to go back into like PC games. I started playing Witcher 3, Devil May Cry, but I haven't had a console since the PS3. So I thought like, and he wanted the PS5, so he lent me his PS4 because he's like, yeah, you love Aerith, but you've never experienced Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Right. That's a sin. No, he didn't say that's a sin, but you gotta play it. So he just gave it, and you gotta play it, and yeah, it's the best time ever. I love that game.
Meeting him, I think I met him through you, I want to say, whether through a raid or something happened. And he is one of the most positive. Just every single time I'm in his stream, every single time I get a chance to talk to him, he is so positive, and I love his smile. He has one of those smiles that is just so inviting and so welcoming, and you just like, right within the first couple seconds, I'm like, I'm gonna like this person, we're gonna be friends. I'm excited to talk to him. So yeah, he's an absolute legend. Hope to have him on the podcast in the future and chat with him as well. So it's been just like I kind of mentioned earlier, a handful, like a real handful of people who, even if I don't ever stream again, like these are people like yourself who I just really want to stay in contact with, and hopefully we get a chance to meet in person one day. But just like staying in contact, sharing memes, sharing gifs, sharing fun conversations, getting excited over video games, and just having friendships all across the world, like I said, through different cultures and different languages and different foods and different ideas and different, but finding that similarity between all of us. And it's been an absolute life-changing experience.
And then seeing the growth as well, because you streaming from last year and you streaming like right now, it's totally different, right? You can it's great to see not only your own growth but also your friends' growth. And It's like, oh, when I first met them, they're just a small little tiny baby, and then now they've grown into like a big gigantic monster that they are right now. It's amazing, man. I love it.
It is really cool. And it's I always understand if people stop streaming. I think there's definitely, especially on Twitch, a lot of reasons sometimes to stop streaming, whether that's like family stuff or life stuff or work, or the hate raids that are kind of coming out everywhere on Twitch, or just whatever that is. But the people who really have persevered, Porto's a big one who I met like right away, right when I started streaming, when I had, I think, like 10 follows. He was like one of my first 10 or 15 follows. And I met him when I was playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake, before I even played Final Fantasy 8. It's interesting because, at least with myself, I was playing a very saturated game the moment it came out with Final Fantasy 7 Remake, and I did not get a lot of interaction, a lot of follows. Really, Cage, I always call him Cage, I always have, he was like the only one who really I would see every single stream, and then like a couple here and there. But it was really Final Fantasy 8, a game that was not saturated at all, that only had a couple hundred viewers. Meeting yourself, meeting King, meeting Fortune, meeting all these people, and just really kicking off friendships that way. So yeah, it's cool kind of seeing how everyone's progressed. Some people who were just viewers turned into streamers. Some people who were streamers stopped and have become more viewers. And regardless where life takes you, I just hope that we have this chance to always stay connected and stay friends, regardless if either of us are streaming or either of us are just viewers, or not. We don't ever return to Twitch at all, can still keep in contact over like Twitter and Discord.
Yeah, definitely. I do have like a couple of friends that we don't really interact anymore on Twitch due to whatever it is that is life. But we always try, and like every other month we like contact each other on Discord, and it's amazing because there are these people on the other side of the world who are so welcoming, who are so caring for you. But you don't actually get to like meet them other than like the internet, the gigantic thing that is the internet. It's amazing. It's something that I kind of sort of wish that was there at least during my childhood, so it would be like, maybe in a more positive way, it would have helped me to like grow out more, at least as I was younger. Compared to like, how old am I? Only now I'm starting to like be okay with talking to strangers.
I mean, that is the journey of life though. And yeah, I mean, even on that, there's part of me sometimes where I'm happy that I didn't grow up with the internet today the way it is with like smartphones and stuff like that, because not to be the back in my day type of answer or whatever, but there is a part of me that kind of feels that like I've grown up with the internet, but there was a chunk of my life where the internet was not as readily available. It was still kind of there, but I was like maybe too young and wasn't as interested in it to like go on social media or have any connections like that. I just mostly used it for like Final Fantasy 7 walkthroughs and like tips and tricks and stuff like that. But yeah, now,
and it was also expensive. Dial-up, man, it was so expensive.
It was. And nowadays, I mean, there are kids who are like 6 years old that have fancy iPhones and have access to literally everything that's on the internet, which is a little I mean, that's kind of
Scary.
scary, yeah, in and of itself. Because I mean, like, if I was 6, if I was 10, if I was 13 and had access to everything, like, oh boy, I'm sure everybody let their imaginations can run wild with whatever children do these days. But yeah, there's definitely a part of me that does appreciate the fact that kind of wasn't as big on the internet when I was younger, and then just kind of have slowly grown to it. And do you kind of even feel this too, where sometimes you feel like you're so in the internet, you almost kind of want to disconnect and maybe like just kind of cut off electronics, cut off internet completely, and just go, you know, maybe a week or a detox of the internet? Have you ever thought about that yourself at all?
I actually did that. Let me think. I think end of 2019 to early 2020. I actually did that, but more so on Facebook and Instagram. I deactivated my accounts, and it was more so like because I was actually not well at the time. I was very sick, and it showed in my like face. I looked very tired. I looked a little bit haggard, like I wasn't getting enough rest and I wasn't getting enough food. And Instagram, because it's so like photography or like photo based and video based, that I didn't want people to see that, so cut off that. And also Facebook is just Facebook is an experience, man.
Facebook is Facebook.
It's so different. Yeah. So I cut off, but I was still like, I still let myself be like access like websites and stuff like that. But it was just cutting that off, and I think that was a good experience, especially for me. That it made me realize that like it's not about your looks, and it's not about like other people's they post things to try and outshine you. It's not about that. They're just sharing their experience,
right.
And they want to like, they're going on a walk, they want to show you, this is me going on a walk, it's amazing, I love nature. It's not always about you. So that was a very like eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah.
And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who is like looking for a way out, even though it can be really hard to just like cut it out, right?
The app, just get it off the phone.
Yeah, but if you think that is good for you, I would definitely recommend it. It definitely helped me see that I am more than what I think I am. And I gotta be like I gotta accept other people's, like, especially compliments. That's so hard for me to do. Like I've been told time and time again when I was younger that I'm fat, I'm ugly, and all that kind of stuff. And it really, even towards my 20s, I just can't accept compliments because of things that happened like 20 odd years ago. And like cutting them off, it sort of like, because you can tend to like scroll through Instagram for like 1 hour or something, right? You get back that hour to at least, like, if not reflect, at least you're just like doing nothing, and you kind of like play things in your head, and then you realize, at least I realize, that no one has ever called me ugly anymore. Why am I thinking that I'm ugly? Or yeah, that was my experience, at least. And definitely, if I were to go down a spiral again, because it can happen, it's not like a one-time thing where you go through it and then it never happen again. It definitely will happen again, and if it does happen again, I will not hesitate to just cut that off. Definitely.
Yeah, I think sometimes people forget too, like with stuff like social media and Instagram in particular, people are sharing the highlights of their life and all the good things. It's very rare where people actually share the bad things of their life too. So a lot of times we're just scrolling endlessly and see people, you know, beautiful beaches, or traveling in fancy planes, or going to amazing places all across the world, and you just get this feeling of like, man, I want to do that. I want to dress beautiful like them, and I want to go to have amazing champagne on the beach, and I want to go to this place, and I want to go there, and all these people are living this dream, and I'm just here you know, in bed waiting to go to work and same old every single day. And there can be that comparison, and it's hard to not do, because it is a human trait in all of us to always want to compare ourselves. And that's one of the scary things with social media now, is like, it used to be back in the day, we would compare ourselves with our neighbor next door or our friends or our family, and now we're comparing ourselves with literally 7 billion people on the planet all across the world. Of course there's going to be more beautiful people and more adventurous people and people doing amazing things that you want to do, because there's so many people out there we're comparing ourselves with, and now we have it constantly thrown in our face in social media. And I think cutting that, if you are going in through a funk or a mental health hurdle, because I relate to that a lot. Like my biggest enemy in my life is my brain, and especially I've been feeling it a lot lately, honestly, where it's my brain is always telling me everything I do is not good enough, and like, what's even the point of streaming, or what's even the point of trying to better myself, or, you know, what's even the point of trying to be a better husband or a better friend or whatever. Like, there's just, your brain is like always constantly trying to sabotage you and make you feel so low about yourself, and you have to do everything in your power to be able to escape that. And sometimes it's really hard, but sometimes it really does come to cutting off social media, cutting off a lot of those addictive habits. Not even just social media, maybe that's like alcohol, maybe that's gambling, maybe that's just other facets of life that just draw you into this endless spiral of, you know, even darker depression. And I would even say sometimes video games can be that for some people, where you just, my whole life is terrible, everything's crumbling, I'm just gonna play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 for 18 hours a day and just lose myself to it. Like, that is kind of an escapist that might be running away from their problems per se. And I think it's really important to try to take a step back and reflect on your life as best as you possibly can, and try to do the good things, as hard as it is to say, because, you know, gambling's fun and alcohol's fun and Final Fantasy 14 is fun and all this stuff is fun. Like, sometimes it is, Instagram is fun to just scroll through endlessly, but it becomes very bad for our brains very quickly, and we have to acknowledge that when it does, and just cut it off and move on.
Yeah, and especially like, if you think you need to, please seek professional help.
Yes.
Because it's sometimes it could be something simple, but you don't see it. You need someone who has this, like, at least experience to help you, maybe nudge you the way that you need to go to.
Yes.
Definitely.
I absolutely agree. One other question I got for you, Caerien. What is one piece of advice you'd give to someone who is just starting to stream today? Any kind of veteran advice you could give to the youngins out there?
I would say just do something that you're comfortable with. Or even if it's something that you're not comfortable with, like per se me doing scary games, but as long as you're telling yourself, as long as you think that you want to try, or you think that you might enjoy, you just do it. And then there might be hiccups, but come on, it's like a running joke where streamers say it's not a real stream unless it's troubleshooting, right?
True. So true. I always say, like, if it's a perfect stream from start to finish and there's zero tech issues or problems or anything, it's probably a dream, and you're about to wake up. That is so true, though. Like,
or it's not gonna happen yet.
Right.
Yet.
Right. But yeah, like, pushing yourself out of like, you have to be comfortable, of course, to do it. But I think there is kind of the spectrum of, you can kind of push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and maybe try new things, maybe play spooky games when you're not really into spooky games for a month, and just try to branch out and challenge yourself, you know, give yourself a little bit of a challenge to try to accomplish. And I always feel that when it comes to podcasts, honestly. Like, before I place that phone call, when people are like, I'm ready for the call, and then it's like, okay, like, go for it. But then after the end of the conversation, always and like, we hang up, I'm like, that was a good conversation, I'm happy I did that. And it is challenging, because like, I'm not much of a extrovert in that sense and wanting to reach out, so to place that call is definitely a challenge for myself. So I relate a lot to that. Just if there's something you want to do, go for it, give it 100% your all. You might crash and burn and fail, but as long as you get back up and try again and try to figure it out why you fail, then you'll have good things coming in your future, I believe.
Exactly. And I think this might not be something that a lot of people say, but streaming isn't like, unless you have the internet speed, unless you already have, let's say, even the console, it's not something that you can just, okay, I'm gonna buy a laptop and it's gonna be like, you have to have something that you already have already. Like, I would definitely advise people, if they even just have a laptop, use that laptop. Don't try and like build a PC just for streaming, unless you have the funds for it and it's like it's okay for you. Then yeah, sure, fine, you can do that. But if you're limited in funds, just figure out what you already have in hand. If you already have a console, just stream out of your console, because you don't know whether you'll like it or not. Like, if let's say you churn out all the money, and then you end up like you don't actually like streaming, which is fine, then you know, it seems like a waste.
Right.
So yeah, just it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't need to have the flashy lights. You don't need to have the good mic. You can just use whatever that you have. If you're willing to spend a little bit more just to have something that's nicer, then that's all right. Just try it.
I love that so much. I completely 10,000% agree with that. And I always use the example of my friend Dahlia the monkey. She is a partner on Twitch, and she gets like 100 viewers a stream on average, and she streams directly from her PlayStation 4, straight from the console. No fancy overlays, no fancy alerts. She uses like her headset microphone, kind of like this one, nothing super fancy at all, but it's her personality and her community and her vibe that people come for. And they don't come to see cool raid alerts and cool, you know, sub things and all of this stuff. Like, she kind of focuses on the most important things, and that's her content, herself, her community, you know, her emotes, every, like, the core things she does really, really, really well, and she absolutely nails it. I really, really agree with that. And I do think that if people out there want to stream, it's something that kind of drives me crazy a little bit all over Twitter, when people are like, I really want to stream, but I'm saving up my money, and maybe in like 3 or 4 months I'll have the camera and stuff to be able to do it. If you got like a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox, or like a really inexpensive PC, you probably have what you need to just be able to get started. It's not going to be like super top tier, but it's going to get you started and give you an experience on Twitch, or give you an experience creating content on platforms, and you'll see if you like it. And then if you like it, maybe some of those donations or subs you can use to get like a $50 microphone. Maybe you could get a $50 webcam. Maybe you could get like a $100 capture card. And a lot of these pieces can be bought individually over time, and you can slowly level up. It's like the journey is almost more, I would say the journey from very entry level streamer kind of design to professional, that whole journey through there is really enticing, and a lot of viewers love to see the growth of it. Whereas if you just start streaming day one and you got the fancy lights, the fancy microphone, the fancy camera, everything is super fancy, there's not many places to go. You know, you're kind of already at the peak of all the quality stuff, so there's not as much of that room to grow, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. And we were talking about it, right? Like me looking at you when you were last year, and then comparing you to how your setup is now. Like, as you said, if that person already has everything that they want, all the fancy gear and whatnot, how do they grow from there? And how do the viewers like somehow see your journey,
right,
to get like all these fancy things? And it's actually quite nice. You know, some people, they have the when you shout out, then they will have like the clips of that in their screen. And sometimes I get like, oh god damn, the old clips where I don't even have my own webcam. Then I'm like, wow, I did that.
Right.
There was that one point of time where that happened, where I was just playing a game. There wasn't even a webcam. It was just my voice, and people were there for it. And it's wow. It's mind blowing.
And the growth through that is incredible to see, honestly. So yeah, and I would tell people, like, if you think you need to save up that money for the webcam or the fancy mic, you can go on saturated categories on Twitch. You can go to Fortnite or Apex Legends or Call of Duty Warzone or Minecraft, whatever. Scroll all the way down till you see those 0, 1, 2, 3 streamers, and you're gonna find somebody with a $5,000 PC and a Shure SM7B microphone and a fancy camera. You're gonna see somebody with an even crazier setup than like the one that I have, streaming to 0 or 1 or 2 viewers, because your microphone, your camera, your lights, none of that matters if you don't have that personality there that attracts people. And if all you're doing is just playing video games zoned out, you look like you're asleep pretty much playing video games, and you're not interactive, you're not bringing anything else to the table aside from a fancy setup, people are just going to click away and go to the person streaming from their PlayStation 4 who is really exciting and loves to talk and loves to ask questions and loves to get people in Discord and play games in Discord and have movie nights and really make it an experience for everybody.
Yeah, agree. When you mentioned that, I actually just remember I have a friend who all he does is he calls it boring educational streams, where he plays Black Desert. I'm not sure you're familiar with that. That is also an MMO.
Okay.
And he's very like maybe like min-maxing, like he tries to get or at least educate people who ask. As a wizard, his class as a wizard, what do they need to do to get better attacks or better crit rate or whatever it is? Because I don't play Black Desert, I don't actually know what they're talking about. But a lot of people come in and it's amazing. And he doesn't even have a cam. It's just him talking. And it's his, as you say, not only is the education that he's bringing onto the table, but it's also his personality, because when there's trolls, he plays with them.
Oh yeah, those are the best.
And I love that. I can't be one of those people when people start trolling me. I will just break down and cry. But I love seeing him like just
roast them.
Yeah, roast them, like just obliterate them. It's always so fun, and he does it in a very nonchalant way. So there's no screaming, there's no like shouting at these people. He just instantly roasts them, and it's the best thing ever. I love it.
It's kind of like those videos you see on YouTube of like some like a spam caller calling somebody, and then they're like able to hack into the spam caller and get information on them and play around and mess with them. Those are awesome to watch.
Yeah, I love it. Shout out to Big and Shiny, my dear friend.
So I know we did talk a little bit earlier about like some of your favorite aspects of streaming on Twitch. Conversely though, what is something you do not enjoy about streaming on Twitch, Caerien?
I think this might be something that you also feel as well, but I kind of don't like backseating. Oh
yeah.
I don't like okay, this is also part of me growing up, where you are, at least in my environment, like I'm female, and it's always the men, they try to like tell you what to do, or what you're doing is wrong, or you should do this way, not that way, even though it's working, the way that I'm doing is working, but no, you got to do it this way. I hate it. I hate it, and I still hate it now. So that's why I don't like backseating. But I don't vehemently say no backseating as well, because sometimes I want help.
Right, but
and sometimes it's nice for like especially long-time viewers, like they know my personality, so they know like she's stuck, I know she needs a hint, so I'm gonna give her a hint. But it's not everyone who can like make it very not to say how do I say it, like mixed up. So it's not really like look at the chair, or it's not really like go to that door, but it's more like I wonder what that chair right in the middle of the room is doing.
Like a nudge.
I like that one better. Yeah, right. Like a little nudge, like a little, hey, look at that.
Right.
and then you're like, this is so obvious. Why did it go over my head? I like those better, but it's hard for you to like actually say it. And also some people, it's up to people's interpretations as well. Some people would say, oh, that what she's saying is backseating.
Right.
But what I'm actually trying to say, just small hints, just a little bit, and only when you see that I'm struggling. So
Right.
yeah, but like full on, especially I think in Dark Souls or like Bloodborne, the community loves to do it, which is not a bad thing. And sometimes it sort of like, because I played Bloodborne as well on stream, and it led to some funny parts, but I just don't like it when I'm doing this thing and then someone's like, oh, you missed that thing, go back and do that. I'm like, no, I'm here, just
Right.
if I missed it, that's fine.
Right.
What else? I think backseating is one that I really don't like. But being like, okay, if I, as a viewer, I go to this stream and then the streamer is someone who wants backseating, and then they through conversation and whatever, they know that I know this game, that I played this before, and then they're like, hey Caerien, how do I do this? And I'm like, yes, I played this game, but sometimes I don't even remember my own name. So are you really gonna ask me how to do this?
Right. I think there's also a sense too where like they should most people should probably try to like at least attempt to figure out a puzzle or attempt to figure out a boss, and then maybe after a couple tries be like, maybe don't give me the exact answer, but maybe give me a nudge or like a little tip, and then I'll try a couple more times. And then once they get like the really frustrated, then somebody could be like, okay, here's like a good tip for you, try this.
Exactly. I feel that. So that's what I normally try to like say whenever, especially because I do a lot of like first playthroughs. So it's like a first experience, and I feel like most of at least the regulars who come in, they, even if they haven't played the game before, they want to see this like pure unspoiled experience.
Right.
Trying to like figure out, be it a puzzle, be it a boss, let's just be frustrated together, and it's all right, unless I get upset.
Right. It's like the rage quit moment is where the good, like the big tip should come in. But yeah, mostly just, I feel the exact same way. Like as I'm playing through Dark Souls 3, I've noticed there's a lot of backseating, and it's very uncomfortable to an extent. And I usually try to tell people, hey, like stop backseating. And yeah, it's kind of different where it's more of a slight nudge, or trying a boss a couple times and struggling, and then maybe somebody's like, what if you tried your shield possibly, or maybe you should try a different shield that gives this effect, or maybe your rings could, maybe look at them again and try some different rings. Like that's one thing. But when somebody's like, do this, dodge this way, go this way, equip this weapon, use this attack, that's when it's like, then why don't you play the game? What's the point in me playing the game if you're just going to give me the answer,
Exactly. I like how I'm quite oblivious when people actually give me hints. I like it when actually figure it out. They're like, oh, that's what they meant.
Sometimes just goes right over the head, right?
Exactly, especially if you're chatting while playing the game, and you're chatting, you're talking about something else that's not the game, and then suddenly you're talking about dolls. I'm like,
right,
dolls?
Exactly. Caerien, I'm sorry, what were we gonna say?
No, go on.
So I do have two final big questions for you, my friend. One of the last ones I got for you is one that I usually ask everybody, and I always love hearing everyone's answer for it. What does streaming mean to you, my friend?
What does streaming mean to me? It's really it's just hanging out with friends. I know there are some people who use like streaming as sort of like they want to build an audience. They're trying to like maybe practice trying to be what do you call it, like a DJ, or like just presenting yourself to an audience. But I just feel like it's sort of akin to you ask your friends to come to your house, to come over and let's play a game together. And even if it's only like a single player game, because let's say you might just have one controller, but you have like 5 or 10 friends over, and we're all like, oh, this is amazing. And then some of them know this game, so they're like, oh, I can't wait for you to get to this part. I'm like, oh, what part? I don't know what part. To me, that's what it is. And if it stops being that way, if it turns out to be something else, then we'll see if I like it or not. I have also tried doing crafting streams. I'm not sure if you've like seen them. I honestly want to go back to it. It's just my phone died. Well, not really died. It's the software that I'm using to project the camera on my phone to OBS. It's not really that stable, so I'm trying to like, gather funds to get a replacement for that instead. But I honestly like doing that as well. It's sort of like I mentioned this to Zach a long time ago. I wasn't really comfortable with like just chatting segments. I needed to have something to do to get my mind off my nerves, because I'm always nervous. And like crafting is so like nonchalant to me. I can just like do it without even like looking, and I think that is like the easiest way for me to do like a just chatting. Like it can be 2 to 3 hours. We can just talk, and while I'm doing this, and then we'll put on some like really an ambiance and nice music, and then we can just chill and relax, and then we can just talk. And even if I don't make progress in the craft, it's fine. We get to talk, we get to do this, and hopefully I get to finish off my project within the time frame, because what I'm doing right now is I'm actually making a wedding present for my friend. Ooh. But guess what? She's already married.
Thought that counts though, right?
Yeah. It's really funny because I did it once before for another friend. This is similar pattern, but it's slightly different. It's from the same artist as well, but because at that time I managed to do it before my friend's wedding, and I presented it to her when she did the reception, so that was amazing. And then my friend right now, who I'm doing it for, she saw it and she's like, yes, I want that when I get married. I want the same. I want that. I want the experience. I want to see Caerien do this, and then she gives it to me, and it's gonna be the best thing of our lives. But yeah, because the pandemic came, and she sort of like bumped the date up so that just in case there's a lockdown or anything, she does it so that she is able to get married, which is fine. Even if it was the original time, I wouldn't have gotten it finished. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but yeah, it's life and busy and all that kind of stuff. And I'm so grateful that she's okay with it. But yeah, I definitely want to like make sure that it's pristine, that it's perfect, and then present it to her, and then we're just gonna be happy. It's amazing. I love doing this for my friends. And I've already actually jotted it down. So this person, I'm gonna do this pattern for her. This other person, I'm gonna do this pattern for her. I'm just waiting for them to like, where's the invite? And then if there's no invite, that's fine. It's just something in my head.
It's just the thought that counts, right?
Yeah, it's definitely it's something, because they're friends from my university, and okay. I had a totally different experience from in primary school compared to high school compared to university. And I will say that primary school and university were the highlights, whereas high school was not. So going from, something that gave me a bad experience to something that gives me a really positive, the best experience, and we became such close friends, I really wanted to, like, in one sort of physical way, shape, or form, I wanted to give something back. And I thought, you know what, wedding presents would be nice. And because it's not even about me, right? It's about my friend and their partner.
Right.
And it's just something I don't know. It's something common that people do who are in like cross stitch crafting to do those kind of stuff. But I thought this is gonna be special when if they like sort of decide to like frame it or something or put it on their wall. Then maybe even if we're not close friends anymore because they have families and whatnot, at the back of their mind, Caerien did that, and I appreciate my friendship with her. I really want that.
I think that's really, really cool. And I think that is essentially just a big part of Twitch, is bringing everybody together and bringing the community together and sharing aspects of yourself and your talents, whether that's drawing or cross stitching or music, or bringing these elements of yourself to a wider audience and to more people, and just really share who you are with your community 100%.
Yeah, and I think like as well, like there's a lot of people playing games on Twitch.
Yeah.
Going down to it, there's a lot of Malaysians who also play games on Twitch. Going down a little bit more, are there any Malaysians who do crafting? There might be some, some drawing, some other forms of crafts, but I rarely see that. And then plus, I'm also Muslim. So there's also that aspect of me where I do share from time to time, like, and I love how I share. I just like, oh guys, did you know that Muslims actually like da 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 da? And then some people, they're like, wow, I never knew that. And I just like to share these different aspects of me. I not only play games, I also stitch. I not only stitch, I'm also sharing like the Malaysian aspect of me. I'm also sharing like the Muslim aspect of me. And all of this mixed in together, that is what you get Caerien. And that is something like if I were to be doing on let's say YouTube, I won't show that side of me. I won't show like this part of me that I want to show, even on TikTok or anything else. But because Twitch is live, you might not know what happens, like who comes in or what conversations are brought to the board, and there's no like censorship of unless you yourself censor yourself.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's a good way to like share things that maybe not everyone know about, like especially like about Muslims, or like even cultural issues within Malaysia itself that people from not from the region know. I think that's something that I can bring to the board that is unique to myself and my experiences.
It really is just bringing your culture and your food and your religion and your ideology and your favorite games, and just bringing everything together into this one center, and that is who you are. With Caerien, Zeph, everyone else out there, we're all just a combination of our influences and our environments, and that's who makes us who we are.
Yeah.
Final question for you, Caerien. Where can all of our viewers and listeners connect with you online, my friend?
So I'm on, mainly if you want to connect with me on social media, I am on Twitter. That is at Caerien_Rowie. Links will be in the description, I feel.
Yes.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Also, if you want to check out my live streams, I'm on twitch.tv/Caerien. I stream 4 times a week.
4 times a day.
4 times a week. I started from time to time. It happens, but I try to catch myself. If you like the podcast, if you think I'm at least interesting in any shape, way, or form, come drop by, and definitely hit that follow button or subscribe button on YouTube for Zeph, because this is a great man. He is an amazing person. I truly honestly, you've changed how I view on certain aspects as well, and I would definitely not trade this experience for anything else, Zeph. You're amazing. So Uno reverse. Uno
reverse right back at you. Thank you. That really, It's the your breathtaking meme just right back at you 100%. Because yeah, meeting you and having this conversation and just being able to get to know you over the past year and a half has been an absolute life-changing experience. And I really do hope we get to meet in person one day and grab some delicious food and just get to hang out and just chat about why Aerith is the best.
She is the best. She is the best. No one can tell me otherwise. And I honestly, yes, definitely. I've been thinking about, like, I used to always think, like, what does, like, if I were to go to that a region, what does it offer? What is it that is unique? Now, like, Zeph, Golden Owl, King Pink, Breezes. I have so many friends in that region. Of course I want to go. And this is so amazing. I look forward to once it can happen and it's easy to do so and the world is not scary anymore. But yeah, definitely. You will definitely be the first person I reach out to, Zev.
100%. I cannot wait for the day, Caerien. Everybody, thank you all so much for listening and watching this week's episode of the Zephcast. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to smash that beautiful like button for the almighty YouTube algorithm. It really does help the channel out a lot. And if you want to see more of your favorite content creators, streamers, and podcasters in the near future, don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free to do so, and we'll be having even more exciting content coming up soon. Thank you all again so much for watching. ZephyrsXP, Caerien, and I'll catch you all in the next one, my friends. Much love, everybody.